So good morning again, everyone. I hope that everybody is having a good week so far. And we are about to kickstart today's session. I see quite a few who are in the group one already online, and I know the master traders are waiting. Leighton and Gilbert, they're waiting to take you through another interactive and innovate and a lot of information. So we're gonna just jump right in. However, before we do that, let me just remind those of you who would have selected marketplaces to continue to reach out to the different marketplaces for quotations for submission, so that we could get that ready and set up as we try to get you online and on these marketplaces. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Leighton and Gilbert, and they will take you through.
Good morning, all. Welcome back. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for taking the time, energy to show up to these sessions. Let us know that this is important to you. Again, this morning we go right back into the workbooks. These sessions are going to be led primarily by Leighton. So Leighton, whenever you're ready, show is yours.
Yes, man. Morning, everybody. Gilbert, are you hearing me loud and clear today, sir?
Oh man, you sound full of energy. What you had for breakfast?
Just a shake, just a shake. But sometimes less is more,
Yeah. Give thanks.
All right, cool beans. All right, morning, everybody. 17 on the call this morning. All right, so Gilbert, just remind me who are the persons who are in track one. I know it's Troy is here as one of the names.
Yeah, you have the track one crew and you have some of the BSOs on. So this is why the number seems kind of high.
Okay. Let me share screen under this. But tell me something, Gilbert, do you have the list in front of you of the different track memos?
Let me pull that up right now. Let me pull it up.
Thanks. All right, guys, I'm going to share screen. So let me know when you see my screen. All right, so last week we spoke about value propositioning and different revenue streams, defining revenue streams. How do you differentiate one revenue stream from one another? And also the importance of having multiple revenue streams for your business. Today we'll be talking more on target markets, more so about engaging with the customer and what it takes to do so. So for Kim's Beauty, we continue to use the workbook as a guide as to how we activate. And for track one, I would say majority of our practical work here is really in documenting the different considerations for the business, because you're still at the strategy stage, still ideating, still putting together, what your business model will look like and how to be executed from an e-commerce standpoint. But today we're going to talk about target markets for Kim's Beauty. And as we speak about this, I want us all to think about our own target markets and what are the key considerations that must be had when defining your target market and the market segments. Generally, of course, the target market is that broader grouping of persons who you go after. Your market segments are generally broken down into specific customers with specific needs. Normally, market segments are defined based on probably a particular product category. Sometimes can be even as defined as going on to persons who want specific products. But if you're a seller of many products, oftentimes it's easier to categorize your products and define your market segments based on a need that product fills, right? So let's define the market segments for Kim's Beauty here. In this case, so we know Kim's Beauty is going after females who are looking for trendy styles to get done, for beauty services and so forth. However, of course, Kim's Beauty does sell a variety of products or have product areas, right? So you have your retail customers, you have your B2B customers, you have persons where they don't have any qualified members on subscription, you have persons who do bookings, you have individuals who need bridal services. So let's start with a primary need, which is booking beauty services. So let's define this market segment as let's call it beauty. Let's give this a name. Market segments. Let's call this beauty stats. Right? That's something random. We may change it afterwards. All right. And then we have persons who want to get raw materials. So this would be your business customers. Right? Let's change beauty styles to beauty service clients. Beauty service clients. Right? And then so primary would be your beauty styles, and then have your B2B customers, and then you have your retail customers. And then you have and then we have bridal parties. So bridal parties. Right? So beauty service clients who best values the product that they're selling to beauty service providers, right? I would say that these are also fairly young people, young females rather, young to middle age females who regularly attend events, right? Because this is the demographic of persons who I'm saying even regular attend events. That may be a incorrect statement, but let's say regularly, put this way, who like to dress up. That's who like to dress up. Because you have corporate females who like to look good to go to work. You have females who are going to church and they like to look good to go to their church events. They must like to dress up, right? So let's kind of generalize it a little bit, even within the market segment. So young to middle-aged females who simply like to dress up. These are the persons who are going to value getting their makeup done, getting their hair done, getting their nails done, and getting those types of fulfillment services from Kim's Beauty, right? Where can we find these individuals? All right. So remember that Kim's Beauty is in Montego Bay, right? Oh, I forgot one particular not bridal parties, sorry. I was So we're talking about tourists. You know, tourists are part of our market segment, but they are here to Kim's Beauty mainly for destination wedding. So tourists getting married in Jamaica, in Montego Bay. All right, so we'll have the tourist segment. All right, cool. Going back to the beauty service providers, where can they be found? All right, so these are your locals. You know, where can they be found whenever you're looking to market to people like this? All right, so we know we can find. I have to think about offline and also online. All right. So where can we find a person who is likely to be a customer of Kim's Beauty? Kim's Beauty is on the it's not on the cheaper end of things, and where prices is concerned. They specialize in quality and so forth. So I think by and large, they are pretty much in the corporate offices. So corporate offices, then put workplace. Right, so workplace can look like many different things for different people, right? You can find them at the cafes, right? Where else can we find persons who are likely to take beauty services from Kim's? We'd love to hear from some of the participants on this session, especially the females. I'm a male in a woman's world in this case. Let's hear a little bit from some of the females. Where are some of the places where we can find, young trendy females who like to get their hairstyles done, quite regularly. They may also be at parties, right? Where else can we find them? Any ideas at all based on what's happening in your own country? So we know we can find them at workplaces, cafes / restaurants. I'm gonna put / restaurants here. Parties, anywhere else that comes to mind. Offline spaces for these individuals. Anywhere else. Workplace, places to eat, places to have fun. Why is this important? Because we have to know how we're going to find these people, we're going to market to them. If I was to print some flyers and give to people, where would be the best place for me to go to hand out these flyers? Keep in mind, guys, that although we're doing an e-commerce based program, we have to tie our offline operations and business to the e-commerce execution. Keep in mind that although we're focused on e-commerce here, a lot of our businesses still have a brick and mortar component, and I will tell you flat out that your brick and mortar is your greatest asset to your e-commerce business, because you're seeing foot traffic here, you are interacting with people every day. It's a great channel for driving your foot traffic customers to your website, and you will notice little by little, you have less foot traffic into your store because more persons are buying online. Or if it is that they still need to come into store, it's no longer a crowd, but more organized, more streamlined way of them coming into your business location and getting your service done from you. I see a lot of persons are going into very innovative ways of managing their customers' wait time and just the traffic through their business place. Any further ideas about how we can reach persons, females who fit this part of the demographic, young to middle-aged females who like to dress up? Where else can we find them? Maybe we can find them at also clothing stores. All right. So if I was the owner of Kim's Beauty and I wanted to quickly promote, let people know about the availability of my service, these are some of the places where I may go to drop off some flyers, right? Or if I could have a big display in the window. I said a flyer, but what you call those again? Like a window display flyer. I don't know what the name of it. There's a specific name for it. But you could use that as well in the stores, for instance, in the front window of even Kim's Beauty. You could put up something like this, now open, offering special rates, blah blah blah, something like that. Then we look at, all right, where do we find these persons online? So these are your offline locations, right? Where do we find these persons online? We find them on social media, right? We've also find these persons searching on Google. We're gonna find them on YouTube. We may also find them in their emails, right? Where else online may we find these individuals? They may also be on other beauty websites. So beauty related websites. So maybe we can use Google Ads or something like that to reach those types of persons, right? YouTube's capital Y. Did I see? I think I see something in the chat. Let me see what's going on here. Social clubs. All right, that's another one. The social clubs. So whether it's a golf club or your Rotary club, that's a very good idea. That's a very good one. A lot of females are in these clubs, even like charity organizations. They're there, right? Let's put restaurants just as a broad catch up, right? So online with a social media, Google search, YouTube, emails, beauty related websites, right? Right? I drag this over a little bit to get a little bit more space on this side of things. Maybe over here as well. All right. A little bit more space for this column. All right, cool. So this is a good set of areas that we can use to find these individuals, right? And what it means is that when you are ready to know developing marketing material, we know what type of marketing material we can use to reach person. So we know things like flyers, handouts, business cards will work for your offline locations, right? And we know that advertising, content marketing can be used to reach persons on social media, Google, YouTube, emails, and also on other website platforms, right? What exactly do these persons need, right? They need to get beauty. You know what? Put it in the trendier terms. They need to get dolled up, right? And that's bottom line. That's the purpose of getting a beauty service. You want to get dolled up. You want to get prettied up. You want to get your hair done and nails done. Maybe get some pedicures, manicures, things like that. But bottom line, you just want to get dolled up. So it's important to understand why. Why are we asking what exactly do they need? We're asking this because this has to form a key part of the messaging to the customer. So after we know what the market segment is, who best values in that market segment, who best values the product is being sold, where can they be found? We need to know, what's the key message that we need to drive home to them to get them to consider buying from you, right? And then we want to know, when do they buy, so for getting dressed up, dolled up, getting with the services done is normally around, going out. So for events, so whenever there are events, and events can mean simple thing as in a church, weekly. So it doesn't have to be a one-off event, it can be a weekly event. For some it can be going to work. So let's say when going to events, right? So we'll say events, when I say work, What else? What else? In the chat, any other suggestions? Which other times do females tend to get dolled up? You know, also going to events, going to work, every day. What other occasions do we find? Come on, women, give me some ideas. I know we have quite a few women in the group here. Give me some ideas about, you know, when do you choose to go to the hairdresser or not? Give us some ideas about that. Anybody? All right, so talk about events, work. I'll leave it there so far now. It doesn't have to be a whole list. But we know mainly it's gonna be for events, right? And this pretty much defines your first market segment that you got. And you have your B2B customers where raw materials are being sold. Who best values these? These are always small beauty practitioners who want to make beauty products. If you notice, I change the word from sell to make, because at the end of the day, they're using the raw material to make products. So somebody would get the base and all the material and everything to make things like, you know, your chopsticks, lipsticks, lip balm, right? Things like that. You know, persons would get raw material to make. So these persons are making beauty products and selling them. So we have to be very clear about who we are selling what to. Where can these persons be found? They can be found in their salons, in their business places. At other beauty stores,
Business and professional associations.
Business, right? So business associations. Where else? There anywhere else that they can be found? So they will find at their business place. They can go into their business place and say, "Hey, I provide such and such that you can use to make such and such." You probably see that. Look at their displays that you're probably selling this already, maybe at a certain price point, to let them know that, hey, you know, if you use my product, you can sell it at a cheaper price point, whatever it is. You can have that conversation there. And beauty stores are places where they would also go to get other beauty supplies, so you can position your product there as well. Business associations are great ones. So for instance, if I think in Jamaica there is an association for beauty service providers. I think they put on an expo every single year where hairdressers and barbers come together, and you know they have a whole.
So for that association, that's why I said professional association. Those are professional associations, but wide scale business associations like the private sector associations, the small business association, the chamber of commerce. Those are business associations, but the professional associations is the one for estheticians and so on, and nail care professionalized. That's a professional body. Yeah.
I get what you mean. I kind of just bundle them up in
yes.
In but I realizing that there is really a difference for sure. All right, cool. So that's a good addition. That is a good addition. And that's a complete set of places where we can find persons like this. Right? I have to think about the same thing for our business, right? Where can our customers be found? So we can meet them there, shake hands, introduce our business, give them business cards, give them flyers. Sometimes even just fly the parking lot, the cars in the parking lot with flyers if it's a big event that you're just not in the mood to talk to everybody, type of thing. But we need to find them where they are so we can get in front of them, right? What exactly do these persons need? They need raw materials to make their beauty products. That is what they need, and we have to be very clear in their communication to them. When do they buy? I mean that they buy right throughout the year, right? There's no specific
question.
Go ahead.
So does this include the packaging that they would need? The bottles, the sachet, the so on?
Right. So
Some
in this, right. So in this case, it's mainly the for
input?
Kim's Beauty. Yeah, for Kim's Beauty, right? It was the input raw materials and necessarily the packaging
Okay,
and so forth.
okay,
Kim's Beauty could
okay,
also get into that as well. And I'll just use one example. Remember, this is a
sure.
fictitious business
Yes,
idea, right?
yes.
It's really the raw materials that they would use.
So do we put, so does that include that they need delivery services? They don't want to pick up their goods at all?
Yeah, we could offer the delivery as part of it, naturally. We could offer
Okay.
delivery as
So
part
what
of it.
exactly should they need? Is that where you put things like delivery services?
No,
Delivery
we
of the
would-
goods?
No, we
No?
wouldn't put that in because, as you see here, the main focus here is on defining the target market and its market
Yes,
segment. What is needed to deliver the product or service is not considered at this stage. That is considered
okay,
in the technology setup. So, you know, and I'm going to actually look at that area. Well, am I going to get to that area today? Maybe not so much so the delivery aspect of it, but I'm going to be getting more into the back end side of the e-commerce setup today to talk about more the considerations around how you set up. So, you know, payments, logistics, the things that make the entire ecosystem come together and work. So we'll be talking about some of that today in the e-commerce shop, right? But for this segment, it's mainly focusing on who are our customers and, you know, what are the market segments based on the product areas that we sell, because it is important for participants to understand that you don't just do one broad target market and try to get your entire customer base to buy that, because everybody have different needs. Everybody comes to you for different reasons. Doesn't make any sense to sell beauty services to another hairdresser, but you can sell them raw materials, and we must be able to identify which market segments we should sell which products. Right? That's a very big challenge I find that majority of my clients have, majority of the person who I speak to about e-commerce being successful or not comes down to this simple definition. Our third track focuses on promoting e-commerce businesses, but it all stems from being able to identify who we are marketing to, where we are marketing to them, what messaging we are using to market to catch your attention, and when are these persons buying. Don't make no sense I market to you when you're not buying. So you notice that in America, people don't sell summer clothes in winter. Nobody's buying that during that period, yes? So it's the same type of concept that we're going through here, right? So for your retail customers, no, these are persons who are going to buy, you know, your lipsticks, and, you know, accessories and so forth. I would say who best bothers these products, I would say again, trendy females who want to accessorize females. So trendy females who want to accessorize with beauty products. Right? So whether it's makeup, you know, lipstick, whatever comes with, you know, getting dolled up outside of course, getting your hair and nails and feet done, right? Where can these persons be found? I would say that I would say that the person who gets the beauty service done would be the same type of person who would also buy you know, the makeup and the lipsticks, and, you know, if it's like you sell body butters, things like that, they would most likely be the persons to buy it as well. So I would keep them, I would say that they're found the same place. What exactly do they need to do to accessorize their beauty styles? So whatever style you got done, whatever you have going on from a beauty perspective, you locked your hair, you creamed your hair, you cut your hair, and you're going out and you want to accessorize that, make it look even, make the entire look come together, right? To bring together, put it this way, to bring together a particular look. All right. When do these persons buy? I would say they buy on demand. Right. So if something runs out, then they'll come back and buy. And I think we could say the same thing. It was the same terminology for both. As much as they buy right through the year, you're likely to buy when the product has run out, right? For your business.
Sir, I have one point. That's one thing that I had my hand raised about. Read the business customers buying. So we don't have, as you know, we don't have goods, right? But we have clients who have goods. And oftentimes when they come to say that they need working capital, sometimes it's a crisis created by our own habit of buying or buying habits. So if we make sure that we have storage enough for your sales, which is why we ask that you track your sales so that you know you can have a rhythm of how much input you need, because that raw material you need, you don't want to run out, you don't want to have to find substitute, you don't know if this, as much as you try, the supplier may not have it exactly the time you need. So you're going to always have to have a buffer. So is it 3 months, every 3 months you buy? Do you have enough storage for 3 months of raw material? 1 month, but you need to have a rhythm of how you buy. Are you going to buy 110% of what you need so that you have a backup? If you have a big order, what are you doing? So I think for as it relates to column 4 on the business customers, when do they buy? I want to ask you, shouldn't we decide when we're buying raw material, even estimate? We know life is not perfect, but shouldn't we have a rhythm?
All right. So
let me jump in here, Leighton.
Sure.
So this is not a problem that is unique to Caribbean firms. The supply chain challenge is one that is real, is one that came about, that was highlighted through the pandemic, right? Supply chain issues are real. Now, to resolve this requires insight, requires capital, and mainly those two things, insight and capital. The insight you get from the data that you have gathered over a period of time. Who's buying, when they're buying, what are they buying? It also depends on my supply chain, on my suppliers. How are they in terms of the availability of goods that they can keep on hand? On the capital side, can I afford to buy in bulk? Can I afford the storage space that is required to store the stuff that I have bought in bulk? Prior to the pandemic, we know that the suppliers were moving. We can call up the suppliers and we could have goods in a particular amount of time. Even for the people that I typically reach out to suppliers for, I have clients. One of my clients is a very good designer, a famous designer in the Caribbean. And I normally go and get fabric from the garment district for her. And I could buy the same material every couple of months in bulk. And I can almost guarantee you, on the supply side, they have their challenges. So the garment, although it's the exact garment I'm supposed to be buying, the fabric is slightly different. So when she gets them, it's an issue, right? So understanding how do I begin to purchase ahead and purchase in preparations for any sort of fluctuation in the market is a big challenge. It is driven by data. And as young firms in the Caribbean, firms without proper e-commerce infrastructure where they can actually gain that data and begin to analyze, like those are some of the things that we're working on. And we are a much bigger firm and it's a challenge. How does weather affect the production of cotton in whatever areas, and how does that affect my supply chain in the next couple of months based on my demands? It is a challenge, right? So don't be too hard on the firms or don't be too hard on yourself. Understand, maybe if we form cooperatives where we're buying supplies in bulk as cooperatives, that helps. right? If you have a number of firms that you're managing and they're all within the same line of business, and you could form a cooperative or form a collective and say, let's buy in bulk. So, and then as a management firm, you're providing, I can help you by providing you with storage space and the distribution of the raw materials whenever you need it. Excellent. But it is a challenge. It is a real challenge across the board, across the globe. Thanks.
Yeah, man, thanks for that, Gilbert. But that addresses a very real issue faced by many businesses. I've seen in Jamaica, a lot of clothing stores have pulled together, in going to China, buying products, packaging them in one container, so they share one container and ship them out in bulk. So they try to go on shopping trips together, and have this organized, the shipping and logistics element of it, the cost can be shared, because oftentimes one store, small store, doesn't have the buying power to fill an entire container, but people don't, unless people rent, you're getting person who rent container space from you in certain increments, then sometimes it's just not viable. So persons, as Gabriel said, pull together to make something like this happen, right?
Yeah, and let me just add, again, this is a lot of times, this is where the business support organization come in, or business, any sort of business, whether they're private or whether they're government entities. This is where it comes in. We're in the process of developing a project alongside IDB. So one of our research, what we're trying to do is create consolidation. So let's say we have e-commerce leaving Jamaica, and as you know, this shipping is expensive. So we're saying to the firms, and so some of the BSOs in Jamaica, why don't we put out an application that allows these e-commerce firms that are shipping overseas to say, whenever they have something to move, so that they could collaborate on the shipping outside. You talk about the collaborating the shipping coming into Jamaica. How about collaboration shipping leaving Jamaica, so that there's a reduced cost in shipping? And you'd be shocked that the response is there's no benefit for such a solution, right? So what you're talking about here, I think it's Andrea. Andrea, are you at CFE Caribbean Trainers?
Yes.
Right. So Andrea, your vision is exactly where this challenge need to head. But we continue to have people in positions of leadership who have no vision, and that is a bigger problem than the problem that we're facing. Because when we come with a solution,
but they're not the ones that should be in the conversation at that table. That table should be made up of business people, not.
But they are. That's
I
a
know.
challenge. But that's not the problem. That's political, and that's above our pay grade, right? The political aspect of this is above our pay grade. And yes, we should be coming together as business people, right within there. We have enough resources within the space to make those decisions. Right, it's based on the way that ETNIF currently functions. When we don't get the support from the government, we bull rush this and we put the money that we have into making the solutions. But yeah, this is the way to go. Go ahead, Leighton.
All right, thanks for that discourse, guys. Loving it. All right, so the question brought us a little bit outside of the scope of purchasing of selling when our customers purchase, but it definitely is a needed conversation around how persons manage their purchasing patterns. Now, in the case of Kim's Beauty is a supplier. Kim's Beauty is selling products to its customers, and its customers in market segment 2 are business customers who are likely to buy products when they are running out, or maybe she may find a few more progressive thinkers like what we're talking about, and have actual schedules around how they purchase. What I've seen happen a lot is in B2B, there tends to be some type of credit relationship for large customers. So if it is that you're in the business of doing B2B, you can do it retail where, persons buy, and, if you don't have all the money, you can't get any more, and that's it. You buy what you can afford to buy today, And then you have other persons who know will will implement credit terms that allow persons to buy and order them for 30 days, types of things, or they get even a credit limit as to how much you can buy. And as you pay down monies, your more credit becomes available. So when persons buy, could be on demand, could also be based on again their credit terms, could also be based on credit availability. And I've seen persons, companies, very competitive companies, large industry leaders go above and beyond to enable their customers to buy and buy more from them. I'll give an example. Carreras sells cigarettes here in Jamaica. The parent companies from Europe, and they don't have much competition, if any, legal competition locally, where cigarette selling is concerned. Because of this, they tend to max out, they're pretty much maxed out their market as best as they can. Carreras is one of those stocks that perform very well on the Jamaica stock market. And they've been around for quite a while. I don't remember how long, but I know the British tobacco company has been around from the 1800s. I think tobacco was even grown in Jamaica back in the day, from sugar plantation days, banana industry days, to service this market segment. So, this industry has been very old and has been here for a pretty long time. But I saw them do something very innovative to enable persons to buy from them, which also taps into what Gilbert was mentioning. As I listened to him, I remember that example. And what they pretty much did was that their customers, as you mentioned, you have two issues to face, three. One is having the data around, when do I need to, what are my purchasing patterns? Two, do I have the budget, the money to spend to buy the product? Three, Rosette, you're on, oh, thank you. Three, do I have the space to store the product? So in Carrera's case, the customer knows their buying patterns, they have the money to buy the product, but they don't have the space because these are very large wholesales that that companies depend on to move their goods. When I say dependent, I mean, in Jamaica, you have like about 5 or 6 very, very large wholesales who have so much spending power that they determine what distributors can do and what they can't do. So if someone comes to the market and says, hey, we're now selling this product for double its cost, once those 5 or 6 wholesalers come together and determine that, hey, this is going to work, best believe it cannot work, because for the distributor to meet their targets, these wholesalers have to sell their products and sell it in the bulk that they usually sell it, right? So what Carreras did was to actually invest in storage space at the wholesaler's location. So they actually went there and built out storeroom spaces for their cigarettes so that they could increase the amount of product they sold them. So that to me was very innovative. I've seen companies like Red Stripe here in Jamaica attempt similar levels of innovation to increase their customers' buying power. And a lot of this, guys, comes from understanding your customer, understanding their needs, understanding their constraints, so that you can enable them to buy more. Similarly with me in my business, I try to be very easy to do business with. And, in doing that, I try not to be too hard and fast and having draconian contractual terms. I try not to be hard and fast on processes around how my customers, especially loyal customers, buy from me. These are things that enable persons to buy from you in just a better way, So we have to enable our customers to buy, and we have to understand when they buy for us to be able to apply these types of tactics towards, our selling strategy. So coming back to Kim's Beauty and selling its raw materials to its business customers, it's first starts understanding how do these customers buy, right? A small beautician is not going to buy a product tomorrow that they don't need. You understand? If they don't need it, they're not going to buy it. They're going to put that money elsewhere. These are small business persons. But to understand the psychology as well behind how these persons buy. So typically they buy on demand, and as such, we have to sell it in that manner. If it's that again you have credit terms, then at least there maybe I have some type of credit system that allows to track where they are in their credit usage, and by tracking that you can reach out to them. If you say all right, this person has about 50% of your credit has freed up, then a rep can reach out to that client and say, hey, all right, they have some additional credit with us. Do you want to get more product? You know, these are things that you use to sell more. But again, just keeping it simple, understanding that these guys buy on demand helps you to know when to sell to them or how to sell to them, how to make the product available to them, right? And what quantities to sell them in. All right. So coming down now to my tourism customers who are here for destination weddings. So we say who best values the product we're selling, and for me, I'm saying tourist planning destination weddings. All right, now where can they be found? Where can these tourists be found? I think this is one of the ones that allow us to have to think, a little bit. Okay, Gilbert has to step away a little bit. All right, cool. So for tourists who are visiting Montego Bay to have a destination wedding, let's get in the mind of that tourist. Where can they be found? First and foremost, they would likely be found at home. Home in their respective country. Because somebody planning a destination wedding does not fly to Jamaica today and plan a wedding tomorrow. Well, they can do that as well. But normally they would reach out ahead and start to organize at least, how this is going to unfold. But it is that they're going to book their hotel, determine whether or not they're going to use a hotel package or they're going to do something off-site. These are things that we have to consider. So they're at home. They may also be in the hotels, so local hotels. Right, and put a comma there. So local hotels. There, guys, and let's remove this page number. This clear from image. Okay, good. All right, so they're at home in their respective home country. They're at hotels, in their travel location. They're on travel apps. Of course, again, they're on social media. They're definitely on Google search and Pinterest, right? Looking for lookbooks and styles. Where else are these tourist persons? Let's say travel apps. Travel apps. All right. So this is a fairly complete listing of places. What exactly do they need to do? They need to look good for their wedding. When do they buy? When getting married. They're not getting married, they will not be buying. Yes, and that pretty much covers you know, how you would consider going through your different market segments for specific target markets. And I just want to touch on this area as well. I think we did a little bit of this over here where they can be found, and pretty much what we would see to do is just fill out this with that information. So we have offline locations, we have online locations, and we can document them, right? We're going to document that in the background. So that next week when we come, this will be filled out. I already go through this in pretty fine detail, right? So just to recap, because we're at the 10 o'clock mark, which, you know, signifies the end of the first grouping. Target marketing, guys. This makes and breaks every single e-commerce execution. When I say every single, I mean you will never get it right unless you understand who you are targeting with which product. I can't echo the sentiment anymore. Like, doesn't matter how beautiful your website looks, doesn't matter how many payment gateways you have installed, when you're ready to start driving traffic, understanding your market segments and how you position what value to them is going to be the difference between zero sales and some sales, right? Of course, this is an iterative process of development. So, you know, this, for example, if I was Tim's Beauty, this would be my first draft. Your first draft is never your best draft, you know, so I would further refine it and, you know, get it a little bit cleaner. At the bottom line, guys, you can't start running marketing campaigns until you know these things, because you see, when you go in the social media ad manager, I'm going to probably take a peek at that today in our last hour. When you go to the social media ad manager, you have to make this, you have to make these determinations, you have to make these selections, you have to target. If somebody's in the respective home country and we target tourists, then we have to select. We have to select tourist destinations. Or maybe we look for tourist destinations who have the most destination weddings. I'm sorry, which countries maybe have the most destination weddings in this particular country, understand? You have to understand these things and point your eyes to those specific areas. So we have to know who we're servicing with what information and how. Any questions? Troy, you've been very quiet today. I don't know if you're still on the session.
Yes, I'm still here. I'm still here, just observing, listening, taking notes.
Any questions?
No, not at this time.
Okay, all right, great. Anybody else? Any questions before we jump forward or more technical section? All right, great. So let's move on to modules 3's workbook, right? All right, so we're on now to track 2, talking about the technical components of e-commerce and how all of this comes together. Now, last week, we started off looking at the technical setup of Kim's Beauty, what that could have looked like from okay, hold on, let me just bring this back up. Visit site. Let me bring this down to the bottom. All right, I'm going straight to the shop. All right. So last week, we touched on creating the different products for Kim's Beauty, right? And we wanted to echo clearly that, you know, you could start your digital selling by simply having a product catalog with, you know, having like a product catalog with the name of your product, pricing, and just simply sharing that individual so that they can submit an order, right? But before they get to the order submission phase, or even just for you to actually, sorry, for you to process the orders in the back end. So somebody makes an order from a, hey, Kim, I want to buy a lipstick from you, and you can go to the back end, you can add that order to the system, and we did a quick walkthrough of what that looked like, right? And you can manage how the order is fulfilled and all of that. But now we want to look at, what is it going to take for us to bring this sales system to now becoming more e-commerce ready, more e-commerce friendly. We'll start with us coming into the e-commerce system and customizing that e-commerce system, right? So for WordPress, the e-commerce system of choice is WooCommerce. Again, we highly recommend WordPress-based platforms because WordPress is the largest, most used content management system out there globally. It has also.
You're breaking up.
You're
breaking up. Lost most of what you said a while ago.
Hold on, give me a second, guys. Let me see if we can fix it. Let's see if maybe changing internet so stronger, but it's a weaker connection.
Layton, you sound pretty good from here, you know.
All right, let me try the I got the same thing issue last week. How am I? Am I clear at the moment, Gilbert?
You sound pretty good from here. I didn't hear a breakup at all.
Okay, well, maybe it was on Troy's side, but either way, we're on the stronger connection now, so we shouldn't have any issues at all from my end, right? All right, cool beans. So back to WooCommerce. So as I was mentioning, guys, I can't echo the sentiment anymore. I've met with a lot of persons, had a lot of conversations with persons about their platform choice, and being on a platform that is easy to integrate into your ecosystem, is fully scalable. For me, is goal, right? So you'd have noticed that we started with the most basic possible version of what Kim's built. That this is literally just the back office setup right now. So as I said, we're going to now look at what is it going to take for us to start achieving some e-commerce functionality from the setup here with Kim's built, right? So let's look at WooCommerce settings and different considerations that we have to look at when doing these things, right? So of course you can put in your store location here, Kim's Beauty, at least select the country here, be in Jamaica. These things help us when the store is going to do things like calculating, shipping and so forth. If you're going to use your store location as your base address, then these things become important. You're also able to select your selling locations, because we're online, that means we're selling to everywhere, There are some stores that you go on to, they don't ship to the Caribbean, bottom line. You can't get them to send that product to the Caribbean, you can get them to send it to the US. And because we have a mailbox, a shipping mailbox in the US, and we can shop from these stores, allow them to ship it to the US, and then have our mailbox forwarder send that product out here to us in our respective countries. I don't know how popular this has become across the Caribbean, but in Jamaica, I remember about 10 years ago, there was only one company doing this called Mailpack. And then over the last 5 to 6 years, I've lost count of the number of persons doing it. There's at least outside of Kingston, which is, the largest concentration of people. Kingston maybe has probably about 10 to 15 of these companies. Each parish, Jamaica has 14 parishes, each parish maybe has at least 3 to 4 at this point in time. So, it has become very popular to do this simply because a lot of these persons who sell products don't necessarily ship to all countries, right? They don't sell to all countries. So if you don't have a shipping address that is within their shipping jurisdiction, you can't buy from them. Similarly for you, depending on your capabilities, capacity to sell, what makes sense or what doesn't make sense, you will have to determine your shipping location. So for example, recently I was working on a project where the customer is having a real challenge selling its products to persons in the Caribbean from Jamaica, and even found the shipping rate of the product to North America to be becoming quite prohibitive, meaning that the shipping cost was working out to being the same as the product cost, which for me, it doesn't even matter if I'm buying a sweetie for $2. I don't want to pay the same $2 to ship it, bottom line, right? So sometimes there are these challenges that may impact our logistics, and we have to make decisions around how we execute from an e-commerce perspective to facilitate this. So in this case, you can determine the selling locations where they sell to all countries, where they sell to all countries except for a select few, and you determine what those few are, or you sell to specific countries. So if you sell only to your country and you're putting a specific country and you're putting in a country or a region, right? So if it was Jamaica, then we sell to Jamaica. If it was Kingston only in Jamaica, then we sell to Kingston only in Jamaica, right? But in this case, I leave it for sell to all countries. Also shipping, all right, so it's wanting to sell to them, but are we also shipping to those persons? So this can facilitate persons buying from all over the world, but only persons who facilitate shipping to, for instance, North America or certain specific locations, based on what you can support from a logistics perspective. So this is where you would see a company from China allow you to purchase from them, but you can't ship to Jamaica. Or you may find a shipping rate to Jamaica is so elaborate that it doesn't make any sense. You might as well ship it to the USA. These guys can turn on and off these functionalities to determine, again, the same thing. Do I allow persons to ship to any country as the seller to specific countries? Do I disable also shipping calculations, meaning that based on distance, I may charge $10 for shipping within the first 1,000 miles, for argument's sake. But if it's past that, I may charge $20 for argument's sake. These are things that we can determine as part of this, right? Before customer location, again, we can use the system to determine these things. So is the default location the place that the person is shopping from? Are we using geolocation features to determine where the person is shopping from? Because there are some products, for example, restricted products or regulated products. Persons may choose to sell that product to a particular area that supports the regulation, right? So I know marijuana and a lot of these other regulated products are not facilitated for sale online. If they were, then you would have had to select a location that supports that, because you don't want to be in breach legally, but some of these things carry criminal charges, right? In one location it's accepted to sell there, in another it's prohibited, and because it's prohibited, you can't get locked up for it. So you have to be very careful about these things. But the beautiful thing I'm trying to show you here is that you have full control over how you show up online, where you show up, what you allow persons to do, what you don't allow them to do. Also, are you enabling the calculation of taxes as part of your sales process, or are you not? Are you enabling persons to use coupon codes? So, when persons are sharing those 20% off coupon codes, and you're having influencers promoting the coupon codes, this is what they're talking about. You can use coupon codes to have discounts on cards, discounts on specific products, and we'll get into that because there's an entire section and WooCommerce is just for coupons only. See something in the chat. Okay, we're actually already in the second group. Just to let you know, I don't know if it's Philip or Ramona. We're already in the second session, all right? As of about a little bit after 10. All right. So we are in track 2, just to let you know that we're there. All right. So also questions of calculating discount sequentially, coupon discount sequentially. What does this mean? Am I allowed to apply coupons one at a time, or am I able to add multiple coupons? Meaning that suppose I have 2 coupons at 10% off. Can I add both of them to the same sale and get 20% off, or am I only allowed to use the 10% or 1 coupon at a time? So that persons don't overuse or misuse or use the coupon in a way that we don't. That is detrimental to us, the business, right? So you can make these determinations, these decisions. You can also choose your store currency. So, for instance, one of the key things to note here where store currency is concerned is that you have to use the store currency supported by your payment gateway. What do I mean by this? You have payment gateways who only support USD. For example, PayPal is like that. PayPal does not support Caribbean currencies as far as I know. I know it doesn't support Jamaican currency. I don't know if it's a broad thing across the Caribbean or not, but I know that they don't support Jamaican currency. So once you're using PayPal here in Jamaica, then your store has to be listed in the USD store currency. If your store is listed in another currency and you install PayPal, as soon as you reach on the checkout page, you're gonna get an error about the currency being incorrect, right? It's very important to understand the base currency of your store, the base currency of your payment gateway. You can put on things like currency switchers on your website. It allows you to change the rate of a product from one currency to another based on the conversion rate I use. But at the end of the day, when it lands on checkout page, the system is going to complete the transaction in the currency that is placed right here, right? And of course, you can determine how your currency is displayed. So, whether you have a currency on the left or right, meaning that your dollar sign. So this is just like how we normally write USD $10 to say $10 US. You can determine whether or not you put the dollar sign 10 and then USD at the end, or you put the USD at the front, dollar sign $10, or just put US, the dollar sign 10, if it's $1,000, do you want to put things like a comma, space, decimals, things like these are typically what you would do when setting up your e-commerce store. So these are some general features that you may want to enable where it's concerned. And then you jump on to products. So again, this is going to bring us through all the major considerations for the website. So now, do you ask, where do you want to display your products? Is it on the shop page, or do you have another page that you want to display your products? Normally, we keep products on the shop page because that is the shop page, right? But for different reasons, persons may want to display, for tactical reasons, somebody may say, I want to display my products on the home page. So when people land, it's the first thing they see. It's the only thing I want to show them, products. I could choose to choose the home page for that particular reason, right? Now this feature of ticking this checkbox of saying redirect to cart page after successful addition is for me one of those things that can sometimes increase the throughput rate of the sale process. Meaning that if I sell a product, or if the nature of my business is such that people are most likely to buy one product at a time, then I would want to enable this feature. Why? Because this is what happens whenever I add a product on Kim's Beauty. I click add to cart, right? And you see that pop-up comes up and it asks me if I want to view the cart, and I click view cart, right? Now, imagine you're dealing with somebody who is not so techy. They click add to cart, they miss that view cart button, and they would have to know that you come all the way up to here to this cart button, click on it, to reach back into this cart and then you check out, right? What if we enable this particular feature? Let's enable it and just show exactly what I'm talking about here. If we enable it, once we click add to cart, it should bring us automatically to the cart page after successful addition. Now, did I refresh this page? Okay, good. So let's discuss the add to cart now. Right away, it moves you automatically, so it adds it to cart and moves it to the cart page. What does this mean, guys? If I sell a product that persons, or if the nature of my business is such that people buy products one at a time, then this is the feature that I want to use for my website setup. Because what it means is that it brings person to the next step automatically. Remember, you know, guys, website is not there just to show your products, there to sell the product. So we want to optimize the website in a way that brings the person as closest to the finish line as possible with as little effort as possible. Now, if it is that you sell products that are, let's say, for instance, you know, you're on Amazon or you have a online supermarket where you know people not going to come there to buy just one thing. They are most likely to buy multiple things. Then you will not want to have this feature. You want to have persons being able to go through their shop page and different items that you have and add as many things to cart as possible. And then when they're ready, they will go to the cart and check out, right? So that's the difference between how that part of thing is used. If it's that you sell products that people just buy one at a time and check out, then optimize. If not, then don't, right? And then of course you can put other product information on how if it's that you put in, you know, things like dimensions, weight, how are those displayed? Is it in pounds, is it in kilogram? Because again, guys, when people are buying things, they want to know as much about the product as they can. Up to last night, I was online looking at some stuff from our house, and you know, products having things like measurements and dimensions make a big part in you determining whether aren't you going to buy this thing. Because at the end of the day, anything you put into a house has to fit within a particular space, right? So you know, having these dimensions and these measurements being clearly displayed in your product, on your product, whether it is in the description and the images, wherever, has to be there, right? So we'll have to be mindful of for those who sell those types of products. Again, this is where you enable reviews. So you can enable product reviews where persons can leave a review on the product. You can show verified owner label on the customer reviews. What does this mean? It actually tells whether or not this person really bought this product or not. You can also determine that only persons who bought the product can actually leave reviews, because we don't want malicious persons to go out there and just give products bad reviews because they're competitors and they want you know, to get an upper hand by doing things like this. So you can determine whether or not the person can leave a review. And the system, because remember guys, it's an information system. So this captures all the information we need for every single sale, and it can use intelligence from there on to determine, you know, what actions can be taken after a sale. So right away, you know, the system can determine whether or not somebody has bought before or not, and you know, make these things available or not, right? So there's the leaving reviews where you can write a text, and there's leaving things like 5-star reviews where you know, you put up your stars and things like that on the product page, right? And you can determine whether or not, you know, by leaving a review, whether the star component is optional or not. I like the star component because it gives me a snapshot, a quick idea of what the collective group of customers think about a particular product or a particular business, right? So these are some of the general settings again on the products. Then you can come to shipping. And I did, I want to leave shipping last, but I'm going to touch on it a little bit. That shipping is all about understanding shipping zones and, you know, understanding how your vendors purchase, how your suppliers for shipping and logistics charge their monies, right? Where shipping is concerned, having the ability to charge different rates based on location, based on distance from the distribution point, come down to how you classify your shipping zones, right? So I could come here and I could create a shipping zone and say, all right, I'm going to create a shipping zone for Jamaica, right? And based on that shipping zone, I can determine what shipping methods are available for that particular zone. So let's put Jamaica for argument's sake. Right. I can choose areas within Jamaica. So if I said Kingston, right? Kingston, Jamaica as one of my shipping zones. Let's see, Clarendon. See, Clarendon, Jamaica. So these are different parishes that we can set up, right? And we can name this zone accordingly. Now, at the end of the day, in Jamaica, for example, I know for some Caribbean countries, especially the smaller ones, there's not great need for zoning because, you know, whichever logistics partners that may exist may just charge one fee to deliver something right across the island. Of course, larger islands, larger countries, you will need to have shipping zones because, for example, here in Jamaica, you have something we call like a round town delivery, you know, where if you're in Kingston or you're in Montego Bay or in a particular parish, and you want to have a bearer pick up something from you and drop it off within the same town, then you incur a very small fee to do that. But if, let's say, for instance, you want to ship from one end of the country to a next, then that's a different zone, which has a different price point. Just like if you want to ship from Jamaica to Miami, that's again a different zone at a different price point. So I normally recommend to persons who have our unique setup to try to have 3 different delivery zones, because at the end of the day, you're selling a product. You want to make the delivery as cheap as is possible for the customer. So you don't want to necessarily use just one delivery provider right across the board, unless it is that delivery provider is able to offer varying rates based on, you know, your location and so forth. At the end of the day, however, somebody who is in Kingston, for argument's sake, will not want to pay more than $500–600. That would be about, say, $3 to $4 for something to be shipped to them, right? But if I am in another parish, I would be willing to accept an $8 shipping rate because I know it's coming from far, right? So it's the same concept here, where, you know, you have your different shipping zones, and you classify and identify which locations fit within that particular zone, and you give a pricing for that particular zone, right? Once you do that, then you're able to execute your shipping preferences. So, for example, let's use Kingston for example, or Round Town. Let's call it Round Town. Right? Round Town. I would say everybody in Kingston and also in St. Catherine. Not getting that one. Let's see if they put more. Don't get that one. Here it is. All right. So this is what we call the Kingston metropolitan area, right? Then you can have different shipping methods. So this is where now you can offer free shipping, right? I also like to add a pickup option if I have a store location, or I have a pickup location where persons can come and pick up, right? In this case, you can also have free shipping. So some people say free shipping if you live in Kingston, or if you live in these particular districts in a particular area, you know, maybe a very tight circle, right? Offer free shipping, or you have a flat rate. In this case, we put a flat rate and we add that shipping method, right? But the flat rate and we turn it on, right? Once we do that, right, so we can go back to the flat rate and we can determine the cost. We can also determine whether or not this is taxable or non-taxable. So if we say, all right, we're going to charge that at $5. Let's use $5 as a rounded number, right? Save that change, right? Then pretty much, let's just double check here. Changes. Why am I not allowed to save? What am I not doing right here? So let's use Kingston only for now. I'm not sure why it gave me that percent, Catherine. Let's keep it moving. All right. So that's us defining one shipping zone. This is the round town shipping zone, right? Again, you would have seen there where you could actually add other types of zones where you can have a pickup zone. Pickup zone, of course, is picking up from your office, picking up from your business location, or maybe if you have a pickup location and you have that pickup location being listed there, right? But this, guys, is very important to the process, because once you're getting into the delivery of your products, then you will have to make these determinations and know what is the delivery. So you notice right here that you know, to put in the shipping method, I had to put a price in. So everything, guys, is driven by this factor, price to ship to this particular area. So when you go to your logistics partners, first thing you want is a price list. How much does it cost to ship to all of these areas that I want to service? Once you get that, then you can create the different shipping zones based on the cost. And that's the bottom line. So that when somebody comes in and puts in a Kingston address into the checkout page, and the checkout page where persons, let me add a product to page. Sorry, add a product to cart. And we'll proceed to checkout. Right? Now, this is what happens. Whenever I come to the shipping area and I put in my location, my country, and then I choose things like, you know, my city or town, right away, it will tell me whether or not this location is, which shipping zone this location is in, and add that shipping cost to the product cost to make your final purchase. All right. That's the purpose of doing all of this, so that you're able to do that. All right. Let me talk about shipping options. Right. You can choose to enable a shipping calculator on the car page. So people like DHL, FedEx, they have these shipping calculators that you can plug in on your website that give you real-time rates as to what it costs to ship with these providers. You can actually have this be displayed on your car page as well, right? You can also hide your shipping costs until address is entered if it's that your shipping rates are based on location, right? You can choose defaults as well when setting up, whether it is that you want to use the customer's billing address as a default shipping address, or you want to allow the person to put in their own shipping address, right? These are, again, decisions that you can take where it is concerned. Now, payments. This is where we come to set up different payment options for our website. So, as you know, I'm a fan of having alternate payment options to credit card payments for Caribbean-based businesses, simply because the adoption rate of credit cards in our country and the ethics and way how people use credit cards are not as advanced as the first world countries. So for this reason, we want to give persons as many ways to pay. The more ways we give persons to pay, is the easier and more likely it is for us to close the sale, right? Without that, sometimes persons will be interested in the product, but they will walk away simply because the payment method or the way of doing business with you is not convenient to them, right? So I encourage persons to have as many payment methods as they desire to have, right? I'm expecting to see PayPal on this list. I was wondering why I'm not seeing it. Anyway, so we mentioned cash on delivery as one payment method. All I have to do is turn it on or not, right? Once you turn it on, then you have to come and set it up. And this is where you turn on the payment method and you put descriptions and instructions on it so people will know right away what exactly happens whenever I select cash on delivery as my payment method. I could have also chosen to link this to a particular shipping method. Suppose I said, all right, I'm going to allow people to pay with cash, but only if you're picking up in store. Then I would do the store pickup payment method and link it right here to this payment method. So you're linking both your logistics and your payment together, meaning that you will not allow somebody to pay with cash unless they're picking up in store, right? So this is how something like this could work together. So now and I hope this helps to start seeing, how some of the things that may seem very complex starting to become a little bit clearer to you. How do you manage all of these moving parts and different considerations for your business? Do we have any questions on this element of things?
Question, Leighton. Yes, I do have one.
Go ahead.
If you wish to select a cash payment delivery option, can you select two options, say store pickup, or after you make the cash payment, which you probably deposit to a particular account and it's verified, then have a courier deliver it? Is that also an option, or just one option you have to choose from?
Well, it's one because somebody can pay you 2 times for the same product, and you also don't want to have the same product being delivered twice. You get me? So it's a mapping.
No, I mean either a pickup or delivery option. You pick up in
It is
store
either.
or have it delivered by a courier. You
Yeah,
have that
it is.
option.
It's a either or. It can't be both. It has to be one. So you only can select one.
Okay.
Did I answer the question, right, Sean?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, man. So you only,
Yeah,
so you
but
only
I'm the
can-
same. For convenience though, if
Mhm.
is it possible to have two options? If you pay by cash, you can either pick up in store or you could request to have it delivered by a courier. Is that
Oh, yes, you
possible to
can.
do?
Yes,
or
you
no?
can. Yes, you can, but you just have to stipulate that right here. So for example, on this page right now, this is a cash on delivery payment method, right? So we're saying to persons that when you check out, so when you come to the checkout page over here, this is where you'll have seen, your different payment methods. Now, because you're not enabled as it, you're not seeing them. Let me see if I save this, if it will show up right away. Let me just double check this again. And I write it down whistling, so bear with me if it doesn't come up right away. So you see right away cash on delivery immediately. Because I saved it, right? Immediately. So what I'm simply saying is that on this checkout page is where your different payment options and your different shipping options will start to come out as we create and save them, right? So once you select cash on delivery, you could determine whether or not, or save this, so it's gonna start, right? Whether or not it is linked to a particular payment method, delivery option or not. So you can have persons just the cash on delivery, and they can select pick up in store and go there and pay cash, or they can also select a delivery option and pay the person cash. Now, you as the business have to determine what payment methods you want to accommodate, what logistics protocols you want to accommodate, because suppose you don't have a logistics partner who you trust to collect cash with you, then you cannot allow this payment method to be used in that instance. And in that instance, you definitely have to link it to the delivery option that best suits cash, which I know it works all the time for in-store pickups. But if you're gonna be looking at delivery, then that may not work for that. You understand, Troy?
Yeah, but looking at the current model we have now since COVID, you have these bike couriers going around delivering food, right? So you usually pay via an app, or you pay direct to an account, or I guess another method you could use is to send the bike courier, with a wireless card machine, and you could swipe the card. That's an option you choose, and then the money. So if anything happens to the bike courier on the way,
Right.
Back, your
Right.
money is not, your cash money is not lost in an
Right.
accident or something
Right.
to that effect. So I'm
Right.
thinking that option could be facilitated where they could use the courier could be given a card machine, the virtual, I mean the wireless ones,
Mhm.
and person could swipe the card and then collect the item at the same time as they make a payment via the bike courier.
Right. Right. You are very much correct. Correct there, right? And we're able to add additional um, um, payment options. So if that we're gonna say card up and pick up, or card machine, something like that. And we could add that to it. You understand? To the list of options to
Right, that would be
make it work. Right, to make it work. Right, right.
Yeah.
Then of course you have things like a bank transfer. Let me just double check over here to see if my PayPal plugin is enabled. Let's double check here, guys. Just give me a quick second. I want to ensure that you're able to see it. PayPal. PayPal checkout. All right, so I'm not seeing it, so we're gonna have to install it separately and add it in. All right. Anyway, so these are some of your other payment methods. Bank transfer, as you can see here. If I enable bank transfer, it will show up on that page as well. Right away it says, make your payment directly into our bank account. Please use your order ID as the payment reference. Your order will not be shipped until the funds are cleared. Sometime you will say, please send a picture of the receipt to an email or to a WhatsApp number, some way of verifying that or alerting you when the payment has been made. Sometimes people will make a payment from another bank that does not show up immediately, so you can just check your bank account and know. Also, you want to be able to have a reconciliation process behind how you verify that payment is being received and mark that back to an order, because you can be selling the same $10 t-shirt to 5,000 people. You look into your bank account and see 5,000 $10 transactions. How do you know which one belongs to who? So you have to put some clear communication into your payment method description, so that you can that supports your ability to track that the payment that you're seeing in your bank account belongs to this particular person, right? And then of course you will have the payment instructions. So you're gonna say something like, please make payment to the account below. And on your order confirmation receipt, you're going to see this instruction, please make payment to the account below. And this is where we're going to come in and put in the payment information. So we may say something like Kim's Beauty, right? Is the account name, the account number is 100960. For argument's sake, bank name is NCB. Short code. And well, we don't use short codes much in our country. But you could maybe put like the banking swift code. I think that's JNCBX, something like 2231 or something like that, right? And you add that account, right? And you save it. And then once persons complete the transaction, they will receive a notification on their order confirmation to say, please make payment to the account below. This is the account information. And let's see if it is showing up on our checkout page as it. All right. So right away we're seeing, guys, we're seeing the website coming together right in front of you, all right? So you're seeing the cash and delivery option, you're seeing the bank transfer, and you see right away from you select it, you can see the description. So this is where you will put your description or our instruction on how to use this payment method, right? Right, so we're gonna have to set up a PayPal plugin to demonstrate how the credit card element of it works. Of course, this is where we would also come. So once we install, this is where we'll come to set up First Atlantic as well. So once we install the First Atlantic plugin here on the system, then right away, they would show up as one of the payment methods here on, as one of the payment methods that we can access when making payments. Now, check payments are becoming very old and a thing of the past. I don't know anybody who actively uses check payments right now. With your WooCommerce transactions, it's normally either cash, a transfer, or a credit card payment, right? But all in all, the process is really the same. You set up a payment method, and you determine whether or not the payment method is restricted to any particular delivery method or not, and you move on, right? In the case of things like account information and privacy. Now, I like this particular page a lot because it helps me to control what happens on my website, right? Now, by default, it allows guests to place an order without an account. Why is this important? This is the difference between me being able to add a product to cart and just go to checkout, as opposed to me having to sign up for an account first before I can even start shopping with the company. What does this mean? It allows persons who do not yet have accounts, your first-time visitors, to be able to interact with your business in a non-friction way. There's absolutely nothing between them seeing an ad out there, clicking the link, landing on your website, and starting to shop with you. So how this pretty much works is that it allows, as I said, allows persons to go through the process and complete the checkout process without having an account, right? Now, if you notice here on the checkout page, it currently does not allow you to log in anywhere to the checkout page to complete a purchase. All it does, it allows persons to simply complete the guest checkout, and that's it. Now I'm going to check the allow customers to log in to an existing account during checkout button, because this is important for me when persons, for your existing customers, to continue using the same account with you over and over. And what does this mean? It means that persons are able to peruse the website, add products to carts, and only enter their account information on the checkout page. Did I save that? Yes.
Question, Leighton.
Go ahead.
Quick question. Is this also where you were saying to ensure that you have real customers, that they're allowed to make comments on a blog or a thing? Is it similar to what you were saying earlier about to ensure you don't have any malicious competitors?
Well,
so this is like that, where they have to have an account number to be able to make a comment like that, so they show
yes,
proof.
they will have to have an account,
right,
and likely also have to be logged in to be able to complete that review.
Right, and it's also good for you to be able to track that, to see who it was that made the comment, what it was that they bought.
Right, exactly. So
you could remedy.
Right. Yeah, so if let's say somebody left a negative comment, then you are able to track that person and maybe even reach out, because you'd have their accounting information and support to be able to reach out to them directly.
And be able to remedy any issues that may be, and validate as well if it's, if it's a real issue. Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm loading the same checkout page in a new browser. All right, so let me just add by the product to cart just to show you the difference of what happens. I believe it is not showing me the login function on the other instance of the browser, simply because I am already logged in as an administrator, showing you the backend. So it would not display login function, but here it is. I'm incognito on the other side. I'm over here. So this option now comes up. Are you a returning customer? Click here to log in. I will want to have this option now, guys, because I want people to maintain accounts with you when you maintain an account, you're able to go into the account area and see transactions that occurred and so forth. You understand? So it's important to understand why we turn on and off some of these features. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Helps with ROI. Yes, this sign up is annoying. Man, it is so annoying. Any website that I go on, I have to sign up first before doing anything. I can tell you, is that risk of me not going, not even one step further in that process, right? So what we do is that we optimize the website experience to have a little amount of friction as possible to enable persons to complete the flow. All right, let's go back to our account and privacy because this page is extremely important. Now, here's the next one. Allow customers to create an account during the checkout process. What this means is that I don't have an account right now with Kim's Beauty, right? I'm shopping for the very first time, right? I am not logged in, so let me use the other instance. I'm not logged in, right? What it is going to do, it's going to take the information here that I put into my billing address. It's going to take also my email information that is placed here, right? In the, so this is actually wrong username. Email information, phone number. It's going to take all this information, guys, and create an account for me automatically. In creating that account automatically for me, it's going to also send me email with a breakdown. Sorry, an email with the login credentials for the account upon checkout. So I guess lands on the website, guest is able to add the portal card, guest is able to check out, and then have the information for their account sent to them thereafter in case they want to log back in to view their account area. I think I did show you guys what the account area looked like at some point in time, but if I didn't, let's just, I think I did on the last session. But right away on your account area, you're able to see your bookings if you complete the bookings with Kim's Beauty, or if you bought some of their retail products, then you'll be able to come in and see that order, you know. And if, let's say for instance, you had not paid as yet, you know, you ordered it with the offline payment method, then you could come and complete it with a credit card payment. But just a quick snapshot of what that looks like, right? So we definitely want to allow customers to create an account during checkout, allowing customers to create an account also on the My Account page. So if I am here on this, let's use this, coming back to my logged out screen, right?
Quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Quick question. Sorry to keep interrupting, but as
No, it's not interrupting.
Would that option make? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Would that option to sign up at checkout make it less annoying for the customer, you think?
Yes, man. That's what we're telling you. So we're encouraging persons to facilitate guest checkout, to allow persons to be able to complete the purchasing process as a guest. You see, what is going to happen is that if the same guest comes back and does not log in and uses their email to complete the process, it should give a trigger to log in using this email. You're going to see you have an account already with us. Please log in using this email so you can continue shopping on that account, meaning that your email is a unique identifier for you as a user on these platforms. So so once the system has a copy of your email, the system is saying that you are already registered on this platform. And if it is that you are going through a guest experience, it is going to give you a prompt to log into your email because you're using an email that is registered as a user. And that's what we want. We want users to use the system as a user, but facilitate guests to easily use the platform without much interruption. Make sense? Troy? All right, hope that made sense for you. All right, so here again, as I said, we facilitate persons being able to log in on their account page. So this is the My Account page. When I come to the same little guy here, it puts the login option here. But what it is asking is, can we facilitate persons registering on the login page? I always, again, tick that checkbox, because again, we want to allow as much places for persons to sign up with the business and also to make payments. So those two things you want to have as much as is possible. So once I come and click allow customers to create an account on the My Account page, then we click save, and right away I can go back, refresh, and you'll see the register option pop up beside it, right? So now I have login or register. If I want to register, I come to register, and I register with my email, right? If I want to log in, I come back to login. So these are very simple and easy ways I'm showing you guys how to maneuver a system like this. You know, it's not rocket science. Once you understand it and you know the implications of the different selections, then you know you can go in and optimize these things as you build out. All right. Now here's another checkbox, which is already ticked, but complements well with facilitating the guest checkout. Is that when you create an account, automatically generate an account username for the customer based on their email, based on their name and our email. So pretty much when it's creating the account for me, it is my name is Leighton Campbell, of course. So it made us join them, Leighton Campbell as the username, right? So this is just telling you how to structure the person's username to make it, again, easy and simple. Also, it's going to say when creating an account, send the user a new link to set their password. So what it does, it sends you an auto-generated password, but allow you to be able to set it as your own, because nobody remembers an auto-generated password. Yes, it's in your email, can always recover it, but most persons oftentimes have a 1 or 2 password that they use to do certain types of things that they may want to change. So facilitating this easily makes the process a lot more straightforward, a lot simpler. All right. And these are as a guest checkout, account creation. You can choose to again add more. These are more privacy related protocols where you can remove data from orders upon request. Remove access from downloads. Allow personal data to be removed from bulk orders. These are things that you as the business may benefit from, but if you have customers or if you're in a sector that is very finicky about sharing information and how that information is managed, then you may have to look at some of these options in setting them, right? Of course, you have your registration and privacy policy, you have your checkout policies that are normally displayed. They're normally displayed on your checkout page. So let me go down to down here. Where is it? Okay, so we don't see. Did I enable it? Let's see. All right, so normally when we complete the total setup, there's normally this little link at the bottom that says, I agree to these terms and conditions, blah, 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 blah. This is where this information normally is inserted. The registration, your checkout policies, once you enable those things, right? Did I save anything else? I'm going to save this as a backup, just to ensure it's saved. And then we can move on to things like the emails. Now, after setting up your infrastructure, you want to be able to manage your communications in a very clear and easy way. Now, these are automatic emails that go out to different users based on the activity that is happening in the back end of the business, right? If it is that customers are making orders, then you have to send a new order alert to your administrator, or they will know that there's a new order. Nobody sits down and monitors a system like this like a hawk. You need to do these communications to notify if orders are canceled or if something failed. Then we therefore want to notify the administrators, right? If order is on hold, then when the customer knows if order is in process, the customer has to know. Order is completed, the customer has to know. If order is refunded, customer has to know. Automatic invoice or order details upon order creation has to be sent to the customer. If there was a note placed on the customer's order or account, it has to be sent to the customer. Resetting a password against customer. New account is created, goes to the customer. booking status and new bookings, again, go to the administrators. And again, so we have all these different, action items that send different communications to different persons. We can go in and choose to manage and change email addresses and determine what roles get what. But normally, to be honest, these things I hardly ever touch them. What I focus on most is, getting my team to change the color code of the email, color scheme of the email to match the color scheme of the website. So if the website is predominantly yellow, then we may want to have a yellow header. Things like that are what we normally look at setting up and integrating. For integrations, again, we don't normally get into this unless there is a core requirement to do so. Let's see if we have anything on the advanced that is worth looking at. Again, these are just defining pages. If you're going to be getting into API integrations, things like that, then we'll get around it. But these are extremely technical undertakings, which I will not go into as part of today's session. Let's see if there's anything else. Who swatches? Selection product. All right, so we don't need those. So the main thing is looking at your general settings, managing your products, managing your shipping, managing payments, managing how your platform is used by its visitors from an account management and a privacy perspective, right? Any questions on any area of this? Any questions? All right, let's call on a few people. Let's call on a few people. Trying to remember the persons who are in this track. Lynette, are you hearing me? That's right, we're choosing some person. Lynette, are you able to hear me? Lynette? No response. All right, let's call on someone else. Judy Beer.
Hey, hello, good afternoon. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
All right, great. All right, let's have a simple question to ask. In terms of the way how you do business, where are you located? Where's your business located? Which country?
Okay, the name of my business is Nature's Finest Products. We manufacture soaps, oils, butters, creams, all natural products. And we are located on the nature island of Dominica.
Okay. And where do you sell your products to?
Currently, we sell our products in a few stores on island, and sometimes I do personal delivery to customers.
Okay. Do you get any customers outside of the country?
I do, but usually what happens is that the relatives of those people in Dominica, they would purchase it and then send it out to their relatives.
Okay.
So I am very interested in setting up my online website and being able to send products to export my products, but I haven't. Well, right now I understand because of this program, but it has been a bit of a challenge for me. So this is very interesting and well needed for me.
Okay, good to hear that. Question, Dominica, remind me, is Dominica one of the larger? This is Dominica, not which one is beside Haiti? Dominica is beside Haiti, right?
No, sir. We are located between Guadeloupe and Martinique.
How big of a country? What's your population size?
It's about 70,000.
Okay, fairly small. Fairly small. So in your experience, do you have courier service providers in your country, or do you have to do your own deliveries?
Well, I do my own deliveries, but we have different options. We have Shop DM, where you set up your online store, and customers are able to order the products. The couriers, they would send their representative to your business, and they would transport it to the product. So we have a local courier system. We also
Okay.
have DHL,
Okay.
and we have, what's the other one? We have FedEx and DHL.
Okay. Question now. In terms of your deliveries island-wide, does your courier charge us one flat fee, or is there a different fee structure based on how far the product has to go? How is that for you?
You're talking about locally?
Yeah, local delivery of your products. Yeah.
I think locally it's a flat fee. I
Flat fee,
think
one
so.
flat
I'm
fee.
not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I think it's a
Right.
flat fee.
So this is a good example. So this is a good example of just a country where you would have just one shipping zone. And you have one shipping zone because it's just one flat fee to ship anywhere in the country, do that delivery anywhere in the country. As I mentioned, for Jamaica is 3 million people, one of the larger Caribbean countries, because we have multiple delivery zoning normally, but in your case, we only have one delivery zone for delivery in the system, in a system like this, and of course, when you set that up, then you add that cost to your card so that persons pay your delivery cost and pay your product cost at the same time. Understand?
Excuse me? Hello, sir.
Yeah,
So
man.
can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes.
I'm hearing you.
Okay, I did not hear the last part of your statement. Sorry.
I was just simply saying that because you incur one flat fee to have your product delivered right across the country, then you would only have one delivery zone. And once you put that cost for shipping, for delivering your products to your customers island-wide, then automatically you would be able to add your shipping costs to your product cost as part of the person making their purchase, as part of the process of the person making your purchase, right? Sean, I see you have a little bit of confusion. Tell me what you're confused about so we can demystify.
Yes, Leighton, hello everyone. I was just saying, a lot of this I tend to get confused real fast. so I was just saying, I feel like I may have to sit and watch it over again. I would assume what you're showing, this is the back end of your website for you to add in your for WordPress, you have WooCommerce, and then to add in the plugins. Because I've seen it before, and was trying to take my time and follow. I know we only have so much time, but in the session now, so I don't want to take up too much more. I just feel like some of the stuff went so quickly, I couldn't grasp what was following what, and if the order was important, if there is no order, I could just add things, because for me it's primarily I do have people purchasing in Trinidad and Tobago, but I do have people purchasing outside of Trinidad and Tobago, the United States, the United Kingdom, on the continent of Africa, specifically Ghana and Nigeria, for my books, and some other Caribbean island for my composting classes and stuff. So when you were showing how to add in the shipping locations, I was wondering, because one of the bigger questions that came up was, because my customers tend to be so dispersed, so scattered, would it make sense to add in those countries, or do I just stay on Trinidad and Tobago for now? That was one of the bigger questions. Maybe you could just answer that one at this point then.
All right. First and foremost, Sean, from products, you sell physical products?
So my children's book is my only physical product right now.
Oh, yes. You have a book, right? You have a book. All right. So you have a book, so you're selling something physical. All right, Sean, mine. All right, so let's go through the process to demystify for Sean, and hopefully that will also provide some more clarity for other persons, right? So let's use your business as an example to go through. So, Sean, you are in Trinidad and Tobago. Are you in Trinidad or Tobago?
Trinidad.
Trinidad, all right. So in your case, you would change your location to Trinidad. All right, it's Trinidad and Tobago, but when it's Trinidad, all right? Now, in terms of shipping in Trinidad, how many do you have courier service providers to deliver for you in Trinidad?
We have them. I've never used, the only one I've used before was TT Post, was our local postal service, but we have other couriers as well. Okay, all right, nice. Now, based on your experience, not necessarily using the couriers for your business, but just using the couriers overall, do they have different rates that they charge based on how far the product is going, or do they do like one flat fee? I'm almost sure that for at least for Tobago, there's going to be a cost to send something from Trinidad to Tobago that's different from if you're sending it within Port of Spain. Am I correct? I think actually, you know, later and the other Trinis on the call could always correct me as well too. I know TT Post charges a flat rate, I think, or it might be very, very small, a very, very small difference between sending it to Trinidad and sending it to Tobago. But I remember when I sent one of my books to Tobago, they charged me like 20 something TT dollars. So I was like applying that across the board just in case. It might be a little cheaper for Trinidad, but I went with the larger number just in case now. But yeah. All right. So in your case now, couriers, like as April is saying there, so for the courier services, not TT Post, they will charge you a different price, whether you're in Trinidad versus Tobago. So like if you're in East Trinidad versus South Trinidad versus West Trinidad, you know, they will charge different prices like that. But TT Post, from my experience, gave me a flat rate. But where in Trinidad are you? Are you close to the capital? In the capital, where are you in Trinidad? No, I'm in East Trinidad. East Trinidad. What's the major town? What's the major town there in East Trinidad? So I'm in Tunapuna. Tunapuna. All right. Cool. Yeah. What am I thinking now? So you're operating in Tunapuna, and you need to set up your e-commerce system in a way that allows persons to go to your website, add your product to cart based on their location on the checkout page. So when they're checking out, they put in their street address, all the information here, they fill out all this information, right? And based on the information that they've filled out here, we need to assign a shipping rate because the product must get to them. All right, cool. So what we're saying now is that you could set up the way how shipping is done. It's really based on shipping zoning, right? So you have a zone, I have a rate. I have a rate for that zone, meaning that our distance, our rate for that distance. There are different ways to do shipping. You can have rates by zone, rates by distance. You can also have even rates by weight, depending on how heavy the product is, right? And shipping company have a different rate for that. But let's just keep it simple to say that based on the area of the country that the product is going to, you have a different zone and you have a different rate for each zone. Simply put, just like how you have East Trinidad, West Trinidad, you know, things like that. So let's use that as an example. So what I'm saying is that in your case, you would set up a few zones for your shipping rate. So the first zone that do you have a business location, like an office location, physical office? No, I don't. All right, no problem. Which means that in-store pickup or office pickup is out of it for you, right? So you don't have that option available to you because you don't have a physical space that you sit every day or somebody is every day to support walking traffic to pick up your goods from you, right? But you are in Tunapuna and I'm sure you have a cheap rate, a flat rate that you charge persons if you're going to deliver around Tunapuna, whether you're doing it yourself
or you're getting a courier to do it, right? So we'll call that your round town rates. Follow me?
Yeah.
That will be round town rate. All right. And then now we're gonna add another shipping zone for the rest of Trinidad. I'm gonna call this one all of Trinidad for argument's sake. Or Trinidad, all island. Let's call it all island delivery. Right? We'll call this one all island delivery. And what we're saying is that whether you go to North Trinidad, South Trinidad, West Trinidad, this is the zone for that. And you're putting in your different rates for that particular zone, right? So you have your round town zone. Let's say a round town zone. Let's throw some random numbers. Your round town zone for delivering in Tuna Puna is $5. Then maybe if it goes to North Trinidad, it's $8. If it goes to South, it's $10. Things like that. It may vary, or it may just be one flat fee. So once it's going anywhere outside of Tuna Puna, it's just $10 for argument's sake, right? And they kind of have that $10 rate being applied. And then you're going to have a third zone, which is your international shipping zone, to say that, all right, anything that is going outside of the country, once it's non-Trinidad, once it's not a Trinidad delivery address, then we're going to use the post office, and the post office charges $20 for argument's sake to send the product to anywhere in the world outside of Trinidad. In that setup, it does not matter if your customer is from Timbuktu or they are from Germany, or they are from Turkey, or they are from the US or from Canada. Because what it is saying is that once this customer is not resident in Trinidad, once we don't see a Trinidadian address or a Tobago address here on this checkout page, then we're going to charge that $20. You get where I'm coming from? So three or four, I don't know if you'd have a Tobago zone separate from your all island zone, whether it's North, South, Tobago, if you'd bundle it like that, or you would separate Tobago, but you could do it in that manner. All we're really saying here is that your shipping zoning comes back down to what cost are you going to incur to get your product to all these respective areas. Naturally, we expect that if the product is being delivered around town, you're going to have a cheaper rate versus it going all island, right? And if there's an offshore jurisdiction like a Tobago, which kind of have a separate island, then you may even want to categorize it as a zone itself and have a price for that. So that when people come in and select, all right, I want Tobago, and automatically the system knows, charge a Tobago rate over here. That's really what it's doing, The system is saying that let's have different zones with different addresses, or address blocks. If it's done by parish, it's done by state, these things are address blocks, right? And we say once you put in this particular parish or this particular zone, it automatically charge this price. And that's what you're telling the system to do. Whether it's within Tuna Puna, all island, Tobago, or anywhere overseas. Is it a little bit clearer now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm glad. Any other questions that you may have? I see some chatter here in the group as well from April, different fees, Trinidad, different couriers, payment at the extra delivery cost. Yes, correct. Any other questions, guys? Any other question? Anything that you're confused about where this part is concerned?
Hi, morning, everyone. So
Yes, go ahead.
what is this April? Yeah, well, you see the name come up.
Yeah,
so one of my questions, as it relates to the delivery, so the other option is for the cash on delivery, right? The courier, it takes a percentage of the cost of the product for collecting the money. So what option is there to include that? Because you can't pre-calculate it beforehand to include it in shipping costs, because it all depends on the quantity of the products and the price range. So how could we
hold on, April. I want to go again. You're saying that the courier does what? What does the courier do?
Right. So there are some people who pay with so they will prefer to pay on delivery by the courier. So the courier charges a percentage for the collection of the money based on how much they are collecting. The question is, to include that in the fee. Now, you can't just include it generally because it varies based on the amount of money they're collecting. So what option we have there to include that within the shipping course, a drop down?
All right. So in that regard, no, that would be a separate / offline agreement between you and your courier provider to say that, all right, let's use a rounded number. Courier provider decides that if I collect cash on your behalf, I want at least 10% of what I collect on your behalf, which is not unreasonable, you know. In your case, you are still going to put your $10. So let's say $10 is the delivery fee. You're still going to create your shipping zones, and you're still going to have that $10, right? However, at the end of it, we know that the delivery service provider is going to take 10% of whatever it is that they collect, right? With that type of setup, that is between you and your delivery service provider. When your customer goes on your front end of your website to buy, they're buying this product at $100, and all they care about is, what is it going to cost to get this product delivered to me? Now, let's use the rate of $10 as a rounded number, right? You charge a customer $10 for delivery, but at the end of it, your client is not going to take, monies out of even your product cost, because it's not even out of the delivery cost, but out of the product cost, just to collect the money on your behalf. You may have to, one, mark up your cost to compensate for that cost of the delivery service provider collecting on your behalf, or just don't facilitate cash pickups for that delivery service provider. You know, it's a funny thing. I feel it's a business decision to make based on what makes dollars and cents for you. If it is that majority of our customers, or let's say you're in a rural part of Trinidad where people don't really use bank cards and people don't really use bank transfer, everybody wants to use cash, right? Like a farming district or so. You have to determine, how much is it worth it to do business in this way with this particular demographic of persons in this particular area. If it is that it's going to, collecting cash is going to come at an expense to you, you know. You're not the one doing the deliveries, so you can't control that. And if the customer says they're charging 10%, you can either choose to mark up the goods to compensate for it, or otherwise. But from the front end display of the website, you won't see anything like that, because the customer, as your client, does not care about the relationship between you and your vendor. What they care about is that, I want this product from Kim's Beauty for $100. What's the cost delivered to me? Is it $5? Is it $10? I just want to know what amount is, so I can determine whether or not I want to have it shipped, whether I want to go and pick it up in store or otherwise. But that arrangement is really a back office arrangement that would not come out on the front end of your website.
Okay.
You understand?
Well,
yeah.
So what I usually do, because I don't have a website, but what I usually do is that, I let them know it comes at an extra cost, but I know if it's online, everything automated, click, click, click. So I guess I should just create a price range, as you said before, probably like product range from this price to that price. This is the extra amount to be added on at that price, because I know cost.
I understand, and there are these maybe one thing that can be done. So there is this concept of adding fees, right? So you can add like a fee to a transaction. And
so how can the option for that to add that fee?
Right. So that's where I'm getting to know. That's where I'm getting to. Sometimes people add like a processing fee to the transaction as a way to recoup some of the expenses that are related to using the payment gateway, for argument's sake, for processing transaction. You have some industries where the margins are so slim, where when a payment gateway takes 3 and 4%, it's just a lot for that business. And that business sometimes will add back a processing fee to the transaction equal to the amount that they're losing by using a payment gateway. So you find that processing fee is 4% or 3%. Or sometimes they may choose to, you know what, let's share the cost of processing the transaction. So I'm only going to charge maybe 50% of the transaction fee as my processing fee. So if the processing fee for the transaction was 4%, sorry, if the credit card processing fee for the transaction was 4%, I'm going to add a processing fee to this transaction of say 2%, so that I don't incur the full cost of that. And something similar could happen here, where again, if let's say for instance your let's use the same rounded number, $10, 10%, right? If let's say for instance your courier service provider is charging you 10% of everything that they collect, and we could implement something to say something like if cash on delivery payment method is selected, and add a processing fee of 10%, because we know you're going to lose 10% in just facilitating the transaction. And keeping in mind that maybe this is not the only payment method that you are supporting. So what you're saying to the person is that, hey, we offer credit card, we offer bank transfer, but we also offer cash on delivery. But if you choose cash on delivery, you're not going to have to pay a 10% charge to cover the expense of me collecting the cash from you. That's really what you're saying. What you're doing is you're adding a processing fee element on this checkout page that will bill the customer an additional 10% of whatever the total cart amount is right here. Or maybe
may I step in a second, Ethan?
Yeah, go ahead, Gilbert.
So this is one of the things that we discussed in the pricing, because for me, the checkout experience is where you close the deal, right? Where you close the first step of this deal. And I'm trying to build a relationship with my customers. I don't want surprises. I don't want, because they selected a particular payment solution, they hit with a price. So I try to analyze the entire chain, the customer journey. And if it means when I'm pricing my product, I include those customer fees in the pricing, so that number is now buried within the larger number of the price of the product, so there are no surprises, regardless to whether the customer chooses cash on delivery, bank transfer, and you should put every possible payment method that's available to you, right? That's available to the customer, should have it on this page. But if I could bury those charges within my prices, there is no surprise to the consumer.
Right.
And if let's say the customer now chooses a method that doesn't have those additional fees, that's a plus for you. It's a plus for everyone along the way, the more that you can make this transition or this transaction smoothly without any surprises.
My question to you, Gilbert, is how do you balance that with pricing competitiveness? Now you've marked up your prices 10% because of this cost, this 10% cost to collect the funds. And you have competitor B or competitor B right across the road, now selling at 10% cheaper. How do you balance, competitiveness with this, with dealing with this issue? Because that now becomes, the glaring challenge that I foresee.
Right. For a lot of people, right, it's one of the challenges that we had with e-commerce we're just introducing e-commerce in the Caribbean. One of the things was when we dealt with pretty big firms in Jamaica, it's like, oh, you mean our competitors can see our prices? Yes, the competitors are going to be able to see your prices on e-commerce. But what you're delivering, right, justifies the pricing. You're delivering an experience. You're delivering value. You're in the Caribbean space. And again, the other thing is your consumers are not always within that Caribbean space. So we are already accustomed to, like, when you look at what your global marketplace looks like, a sophisticated shopper already understands the cost of the product of what you have. And so it's justified from a particular region. So this, you understand my prices. I'm not comparing to your consumer, right? Still pay the same additional fees as you. The credit card fees, all the other transaction fees, your competitors across the street still have to bear those costs. But they're going to add it in the end as here's an additional processing fee that you now have to pay. So at the end of the day, the prices still work out to be just about the same, except my transaction is smoother.
Mhm.
Once
Yeah,
your competitors are selling online, they're going to have to incur those fees, just like you. But my transaction is a lot easier on my consumers.
So April, I hope that gave you some clarity, but also something to think about. Where that's concerned. Any feedback there on the response? April?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll have to definitely do some extra work on it. Oh my God, just cost and pricing thing. I was come back to it, you know, but it's important. But yeah.
Yeah. But definitely a consideration. I will say though that honestly, processing fees are a bit frowned upon. And even from a regulatory perspective, the payment gateways are clamping down on this, because from a regulatory standpoint, any cost related to purchasing a product, any cost related to selling the product should be should be the cost of the entity, the company. And they're saying that persons are passing on these costs to the consumers, which are, I don't know if it's an unethical, or they're quote unquote saying it's a breach of their payment gateway agreements. But I know that in Jamaica, especially with this, we've seen examples of this, and we've seen examples of persons now being shut down or their service being paused until it is rectified, to remove these processing fees from the cart, the checkout page when persons are completing transaction. So be mindful of the jurisdiction and regulatory stuff on your end, because these are things to consider. All right. Shunella, I know you've had your hand up for a little bit. I'd love to hear what you have to say or ask.
Hi, I was wondering if you're seeing me. For April, I know regarding she wanted to find out about what option she had to inform the customer about the payment transaction with the cash on delivery. I use Equid, and on the back end for payment, you have the option on Equid to for example, if the customer wants to select bank transfer, there's also a guidance beneath it where I can put my banking information. So they have that, and I can just let them know, okay, send a screenshot or transfer order number and all that to wherever to confirm. Likewise with cash on delivery, she could also just put a note beneath it, letting them know if they choose this method of payment that is going to be a 10% or so, whatever the cost is that the courier is charging, so that they are informed before they actually go through with the order. Because as she was saying, she's not going to be there to, with the back and forth and explain all of that. So that's just one way. But I use Equid, so I only know that it's available with Equid.
No, man, it's the same thing that we're seeing. If you look at my screen right now, once you click on the payment method,
okay, good.
it's a description right below. Right. So you could put that.
Right. So she
this
just
is where guys we have to use. Right. This is where guys we have to use communication to manage customer expectation. This is the purpose of this here. It's not just empty space for us to just put what we feel like. It's for us to utilize. So once somebody click on something right away, if there's an implication for selecting this payment method, they know right away. So that's a good plug, Chanel, and also our way of highlighting. These are things that come with every e-commerce platform. So whether Equid, WooCommerce, Shopify, these are standard. We have to have communications around the buying process, what is facilitated, what is not. All right. So thanks for that input. I very much value your participation. Caribbean trainers, I saw this mention, and I said, boy, I'm going to leave you for last because I want you to actually demystify all of this for us that you typed in the chat about additional recovery costs. What do you have to say about this conversation that we're having here? Let's hear it from you.
Yes, thanks. I don't think that I wanted to discuss with you the 10% that you're thinking of. I believe, and I've seen it work for our clients, where the margin that the recovery cost for, because it's not profit, it's not super profit, it's recovery
Hold on,
of
what I want to define recovery costs for us, so everybody on the call is on the same page. What the term as recovery costs? Yes.
Sorry. So a recovered cost is an expenditure that is incurred by naturally doing business.
Okay.
You're doing nothing unusual. You're simply offering an electronic platform, a digital platform. And in doing so, there are these new costs that get introduced to your business operations. Those costs, however, are they're not admin. It's directly attributable to the doing business through selling. However, you don't expect to recover all those costs immediately. They're recovered over time. So 10% add on to the price of each product might be the favored rate, but typically, if you have you try to make it small enough that they barely feel it. But but it's so difficult, it's so complex that it typically is difficult to come up with the figure because you want to recover your costs as soon as possible. But the truth is you can't if you want to make good relations. Because I've seen one of the shipping companies that we deal with a lot. They were our favorite. It was a regular guy who the team looks motivated and happy. They work, if they have a lot of shipments to come in, they work weekends, long hours. You could come and pick up your goods. And I found that they responded to you and your needs. Then they got wise and their platform became very intelligent and it got very sophisticated. And then this fee that I find offensive came similar to the processing fee. So, I remember being there and someone overheard me saying, but you process goods. That's what you do. You process goods deposited at a stated address to come here. So that's your fee. You don't need to, it's like saying Chinese food when you're in China. That's what you do. So this new fee that they put on. So what happened is that they wanted to increase their rates and they didn't know how to, because their marketing compares their base fee with everybody else. So I said, just go ahead and be bold and increase your fee. Don't introduce a new line item because it's offensive. And their customer base, and it turns out that, sales have fallen. They're loyal people who used to use them. Some of them have stopped and so on. I said, because we feel cheated. Just write us and say, give us a month's notice or, and say that you're going to increase your fee. Come and give us time. And then you increase your fee, but don't introduce this new ridiculous fee.
And mask it as something else, eh?
Exactly. So the two things I wanted to say is, one, be careful of the nomenclature that we use on our invoices, and be careful of when our timing, give our customers time to get used to the concept. Introduce a new email address, perhaps, where people can talk to you about it. And also when we're recovering costs, meaning claiming back costs, which are sometimes fixed, or even if it's the variable ones that come as a result of each transaction, we don't recover all of it one shot, but we're patient. We cover a portion of it out of everyone's sale.
I really appreciate this thought process, and I think it aligns well with what Gilbert was mentioning earlier about working these costs back into your product costs. At the end of the day, processing fees, persons are also finding them quite offensive. People just want to know why do I need to be paying a processing fee? I'm already buying this thing from you. I'm already, spending, like, why are you adding more monies to my bill? And I've seen, I think online ticket sales use this a lot for selling tickets, because the processing fee is actually how the ticket gateway makes their money. The ticket price is the ticket price, the other processing fee as their monies, which is a little bit different. But when you're selling a product and you're just adding a cost to prepare and ship and all these things, it comes up, it doesn't sit well with the customer. I mentioned to you that even the payment gateway providers these days are clamping down on its use. So once they identify it, they're zooming in, swooping down on you. So we encourage persons to take this approach. I think Gilbert, hit the nail on the head as well as it relates to, working this out in pricing. I think one thing that was highlighted just a while ago from the comment of, recovery cost is that remember that not every single customer will pay with its payment method. So, you don't have to meet the customer back with the exact same. It don't have to be a one-to-one mapping in terms of the cost that you incur versus the cost that you pass on to the customer. It could be a percentage of that cost, knowing that other persons who are doing the transaction with other payment methods will help you to recover that cost without you having to increase your product price to a point where you're no longer competitive, So that's a consideration that you definitely can make where that is concerned. All right, I don't know if there are any other comments or questions. But we have to wrap this session. We're running way behind for our third track. But this was very spirited discussion, and I like the feedback that we definitely got from the engagement. All right, so we're gonna wrap this track and move on to e-commerce promotion and campaigns, right? So let's jump right over into it. All right, so I noticed that quite a number of persons came on for the e-commerce track, and we hope that you will stay with us for the remainder of the session, because again, these elements are very important, right? So let's get back to where we were with campaign management. And funny enough, you will notice that we're picking up from the campaign exactly where we left off from strategy. As I mentioned to you guys that you cannot run campaigns without knowing the target market, and it's the same example here is coming to life. We're now about to talk more about campaigns, and the first thing it's asking about is actually the market segments and how you'll be targeting them. So what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna copy out the information from the module 1 workbook that itemizes or breaks down how you see your target market, and drop this information into the campaign document. At the end of the day, guys, as I mentioned to you, we have to lead with strategy first, and then we execute against that strategy, right? So we're going to be dropping in this level. So we're going to just drag this up top instead of deleting it for now, and just move this up a little bit some more. All right. Now, one of the key things, guys, that we want to talk about where campaign planning is concerned is how we position a campaign, right? All right, let me just see if I can reduce the size of the text, get it all on one page. Am I close enough? All right, close enough for now. All right. So we already have our target market. So we know the campaign details, we know what type of campaign we're going to run. Now I pose a challenge to participants in this track to come up with a campaign for their business that we're going to want to launch during this period of the engagement. For those persons who are in track 3, I'm going to ask you to put your hands up, please, who are on the call right now. Just put your hands up. Just so that we know who is on the call in track 3, we can call on you and use some of your examples on how you're going to execute. All right, I see Jamie is here as well. Let's put those hands up, please. Everybody, let's put those hands up. All right, so in the case of Kim's Beauty, our objective is to launch this business, and we were speaking last week about running campaigns, and some of us felt as if we were not in a position to start running a campaign. But what I'll say to you is that once you're selling, or even before you're selling, once you have your business concept ready to go for market, then you know, you are able to start running campaigns. You can start running campaigns for your business even before a single product is ready. You can have campaigns running that are campaigns that generate interest or drive curiosity about something that is coming. So you could have a product that will be ready in 6 months, and you know, you could launch a campaign just to say, hey, something new is coming, literally, you know, just to get the business name out there. I recommend to persons that, you know, you promote your brand along with the product and product categories that your brand carry, because people need to know who they are buying from, right? I was saying that, you know, people buy from people they know. My saying is that people buy from people they trust, right? But it works both ways. If they don't know you, they can't buy from you. You know, you can't request something from somebody without knowing that it even is available. You know, so even in my business, I would say that becoming known is one of our largest objectives at this point in time. We have a brand new restructured business and a brand new name. Nobody knows it. Our primary mandate and target right now is to get out there to let people know who we are, what we have to offer, right? And it's the same thing here. You know, for some of us, we may be in the market a little bit longer than others, so people already know who we are. All right, no problem. So let's look at how is that we get them to buy stuff. How do we promote things that they can buy from us, so that you know, we can maximize on these campaigns. So last week we talked about you know, the campaign structure. This week again, we mentioned we're going to be getting more into the selling elements of it. Now earlier on today's call, we went through track one. We actually went through this exercise together. We went through this exercise together in full, where we defined the different market segments for Kim's Beauty. You know, who recognizes the greatest value from these segments, where can they be found, what exactly do they need, and why we need it, what exactly do they need is because we have to ensure that these things are included in the key messaging, right? And then when do they buy, so that we can run the campaign at the time when they are most likely to buy, right? And we have defined all the customer segments of Kim's Beauty based on the types of products that she sells. And I'm going to recommend the same for you. So generally, you'll find that again, you have, you know, a broad market, a target market, but when you're starting to promote to your market when you're ready to start promoting the business, you're going to find that different offerings speak to different people. That's why it's important to have a clear idea as to who your market segments are. Jamie, I'm going to ask to unmute and tell me who your market segments are that you cater to.
Right now, or because of the service that we are trying to launch, our market segment are the business owners with employees. To see, let me give you a backstory. Like I mentioned last week, our new service that we're trying to launch is a health subscription plan for different tiers for single persons with family of 4, persons with family of 5. If you have 5 kids, or let's say you have 2 kids, but you have your parents and your in-laws, you can add them on. So it's different tiers that we're trying to do. So we are targeting business owners right now with large employees to see how they are receptive to the idea of subscription plans for their employees. Because it's not an insurance, it's like a complement to the insurance companies. Because of course we don't offer insurance coverage, but we offer a cheaper healthcare channel. So when our patients claim back from their insurance pay less. So of course we are targeting the insurance companies as well, advertising or different service plans to them to see how receptive they are. So right now, that's our target market, the
Okay.
business owners.
Okay, so your market segment for this service is the business owners.
Yes.
And it's
Which in
like-
turn are their working employees, which ultimately is our market. But
Yeah, man.
you
Yeah,
know,
man.
we're going from business owners' point
Yeah,
of
but
view
I
right now.
understand. I understand because what it tells me is that you understand that to be able to reach to the workers, you have to go through the business owners. So
Correct.
who you're targeting first and foremost is the business owners, which is very pointed, very direct, very clear, and very targeted in your approach. And that's how laser focused, guys, we have to be when defining our market segment. So you see, to understand clearly, that who she really want are the workers. But to be able to get to these workers, she have to go to the business owners, and she understand that based on how people buy these types of services, and it's very similar to how insurance is sold and so forth. But she understands clearly that to get to the customer, she has to go through this particular demographic of persons. As such, her campaign is going to target those persons mainly, right? Which makes a lot of sense for me, right? So that's very good. It tells me that you understand market segmentation and how you would target your customers for that market. Edmond,
It's a brilliant marketing strategy to
it is actually. It very much is.
absolutely.
It is because you could have chosen to go into communities and hand out flyers to persons in their homes, but you're actually going after you're going after people who can afford it. So you're going after employed persons. So it's a very strong strategy. So I really like that. I really would love to see the outcome of what that campaign produces on your end.
Thank you.
Edmond, what's your market segment that you're going after based on your promotion?
I did 3 because I have three different segments of my service.
Okay.
Service, the drivers, merchants, and the client. So for drivers, we're targeting the marketing segment would be independent drivers, part-time drivers, students and young adults looking for flexible work, individuals with their own transportation, car, motorbike, bicycle, electric bike. Who best value the product? Same thing. People are looking for flexible work and work opportunities. People who are looking to drive a secondary income. People who value convenience and timely deliveries, right? Those are, where can they be found? Social media, online job boards, universities and career centers. We have classifieds and ads, local posters, and local transportation hubs, bus stops, and such. What exactly do they need? Reliable, friendly app to receive and fulfill orders, access to vehicles, valid driver's license, flexible in terms of work hours and location, competitive pay and incentive for good performance. When do they buy? Drivers, well, they could download the app and start working as soon as they're ready. Ongoing promotions and incentives may encourage drivers to sign up and work more frequently.
So you're saying that they'll buy right throughout the year because they just have the need. So right throughout, once they have
like there's
once they identify that this is available to them, they will jump on. So you're promoting right through the year on this part.
Yeah, for this part, yes, we'll always do that.
You're very clear. You're very clear. I liked even the way they can be found. You put bus stops. You see you've thought about it. You understand? So I'm happy to see that this guide is bringing out those thoughts on paper, so that you can activate in a sensible way. Because a lot of times we feel like marketing is this great rocket science. When at the end of the day, once you have a formula like this that you can execute, it becomes a lot simpler because right away, you know how to reach people at a bus stop. Flyers or even branding the bus stops could be a thing that you do. You get me? Putting on stickers, putting on different anything in and around that space can be done. So I'm really glad to hear the level of clarity that is coming from both of you. on your market segments, it tells me that you guys at least understand where we're going with this. All right. All right, let's talk about key selling points. Let's talk about key selling points here. All right, so Caribbean trainers, remind me of the product that you guys would be selling, please.
Professional entrepreneurship and business training. We
Right.
are an accredited body of CEFE International, based in Germany. It was founded by the German government to build out their small business sector, and now it's owned by a firm called CEFE International, based in Cologne, Germany. It is implemented in almost 100 countries throughout the world. And we have, and BusinessWorks is the accredited body for the 31 member Caribbean region.
Okay. So who would be your primary market segment? Target market segment.
Governments, businesses, and pre-startups, individuals.
Okay, so
We have B2B.
market segments then.
Yeah, we have B2B and B2C.
Okay, good. All right, so I think we're all very clear on segmentation. I mean, once you understand, you know, how to break. I said, guys, I wanted to drive home more than anything else, the difference between a general target market and segmenting, because you have to understand that each segment is provided a solution for a different need. You know, the entrepreneur and the government agency doesn't have the same exact need, you know. So it's very, very good to see that, you know, that is coming across very clearly to everybody involved. All right, campaigns now, key selling points. Now, when we're running a campaign, guys, we are trying to attract buying customers, right? You know, in attracting buying customers, we have to have key selling points that catch person's attention, right? Too many times I've seen ads out there that, you know, you see the ad and you don't see the ad. Like the minute you pass the ad, you don't even remember the ad. You don't even, you know, you skimmed over the ad so much that you didn't even see the ad, you know? There was nothing at all on it that jumped out to you, nothing at all that grabbed your interest, nothing at all that caught your attention. Maybe it is that they maybe did not segment properly when running the ad, and it probably just run into everybody. But I find that happens quite a lot in a lot of instances. What we try to do here is that we try to break down the key things that need to be sold to the customer. So in the case of Kim's Beauty, we want to tell persons about the quality of the hairstyles or products. So for instance, in the case of beauty, we may want to say long lasting, right? Because we don't want to put on the nail polish today and tomorrow it'll fade out, right? Or we don't want to put in the hairstyle today and by 2 days from now, it look like it did 1 month ago, right? So long lasting would be something that speaks to quality. And these are words that you want to ensure that are littered in your communication. So I want us to think about the same thing, type of campaign that we're about to run. What are some of the key selling points of the campaign that must come out in the messaging when executing it, all right? So as a quality is one. In case of Kim's Beauty, we say as a long lasting. I don't know if there's any other right now, but again, for us, Kim's Beauty, we're focusing on launching. For us who want to drive the name Kim's Beauty out there, we're not focusing right now on the market, the individual needs of the market segment, but the general target market on its own. So in my case of Kim's Beauty, we're launching Kim's Beauty. We're not running a campaign to each market segment. We're running a campaign to the collective group of market segments, right? Which makes up the entire target market. In your case, you will be actually executing your campaign based on your market segment. Because you're not launching a business, you're out there already. You want to tell them about a particular product or product category that is available, right? So you want to speak about the quality. What are the quality elements? What are the things that persons will recognize as being of good quality, or let them feel like, yeah, man, I'm spending my money on something that is worth it, something that is good. something that will give me the value that I need, right? Then we talk about quantity, right? Now, not everybody sells quantity in terms of sells a product that, you know, is a lot or has a strong quantity component, meaning that, let's use an example of a box lunch, you know. I've gone to places before and you pay, say for example, $1,000 for a box lunch, and when I get it, they're like, man, where's the food? Food tastes nice, you know, so especially they're focusing on quality. Food is so good, but it's not a lot, right? Whilst you may go to somebody else and they may sell you the same $1,000 size box lunch for $600. Well, it not taste that much about it full belly, right? It's a lot of food. You get a lot of rice, a lot of meat. I think I made an example of this Chinese restaurant locally called Yao, where when you go there, the amount of rice is less than the amount of meat. You know, it's not popular in Jamaica to open a box lunch and see more meat than rice. So they definitely compete with quantity, right? Not quality. And then there are some people who do a bit of both, right? So you can also sell both, right? But are you offering anything that gives that lets person to feel like, hey, I'm getting a lot for what I'm spending, you know? In the case of Kim's Beauty, I don't think quantity would be one of her biggest selling points, you know, as a collective. You know, maybe there are things that she sells in bulk, like her B2B product for raw materials, but generally for a hairstylist, you know, quantity would not be one of those things, unless she is saying that she has a very big space and she can accommodate a lot of people at the same time, you know. Maybe that's an element of quantity that she can tap into, or maybe it is the well, no, number of hours I won't use that as quantity either. So for us, maximum from a quantity perspective where Kim's Beauty is concerned, the only thing I can think about is if Kim's Beauty has a nice space that can accommodate a lot of people at the same time. So let's assume that she does have that component to it, and let's add it to it, right? So we'll say something like able to serve 10 people at a time, right? More salons I walk into, maybe I say 4, 5, 6 chairs. If I walk into a salon and saw 10 chairs, I'm like, man, this place is banging, eh? Doing really good business. That would be my thinking, eh? Value add now. So on the value add, what are some of the value add? What are the additional things you can get with your product that you're not necessarily paying more for? You know, so you buy the product and you know you have some main traits to the product, the main elements of what it is that you get, but there are some value add things. So for instance, I could say free Wi-Fi, right? When you come to Kim's Beauty, you get free Wi-Fi so you can browse and enjoy your wait time. Can give you a welcome drink, yes? I'm gonna make it more you feel like, you know, somewhere bougie and nice and, you know, posh and, you know, things like that. So I could say I'm offering everybody who comes a welcome drink, for argument's sake. What is your value add? What are the things that are going to make people feel like, hey, I spent $10 for this, but I feel like I got $15 worth of something, you know? What's your value add? I like to have value adds when I'm not being price competitive, because it helps me to sell at a larger price point. Helps my customer to have a better sales experience with my brand. So I like to have value adds where I can afford it, right? So have something for everybody. And I want to think about it because we want to see come out in the campaign communication, right? And then price, guys. Whether your price is cheap, reasonable, or expensive, we have to sell the price. For somebody to buy, they have to buy into the cost. why am I spending this amount of dollars for this particular product? If the product is expensive, of course you have to demonstrate value, right? So in the case of Kim's Beauty, would say that, you know, we're selling the price as being the price for quality, right? We're driving the quality element of Kim's Beauty and value, right? So as Gilbert mentioned, when you're selling things, they're selling value and experience. So when you come to Kim's Beauty, you get a free Wi-Fi, you get a welcome drink. When you sit down on your seat, you know, your seat is suede, it's not no tough bench. You sit down on, yes. So we're providing a price for the quality and value that we offer. That's how we have to sell something like this. Things that are, you know, of a more luxurious nature, we have to talk about what you're getting. It's not about the price, it's about what you are getting for the spend, right? In your case, guys, you want to document it as it is. So if it's that you're offering a cheap price, make people know, hey, you can't beat this price. You're getting the best price available for this for this value, you know. But you have to sell it. People oftentimes forget that you have to sell the price. And I'll tell you flat out as well, that if I see a product and I expect to pay $100 for it, but I see it for $10, you're gonna have to sell me. And why is this thing so cheap? Like, it's so cheap that I'm suspicious about it. I'm suspicious about its quality. I'm suspicious about maybe even its quantity. I'm suspicious about if this is real or is it a knockoff. You understand? These are things that we have to sell. We have to sell all of these, right? And then I want us to talk about customer journey. So we understand who we're marketing to, right? Understand what the key selling points are, how we're going to appeal to that target market. Now we need to understand what's the customer journey, what's the path to sale. So earlier, we would have heard Edmond talk about where his customers can be found, right? And you heard him list quite a lot of places, a lot of spaces that persons can be found. You see, places where people can be found are your lead generation channels. When you think about a customer's path to sale, first you have to look at lead generation and how are the leads converted, right? So on the lead generation, you have your lead generation channels, and this is where you will list all the different touch points that you can reach persons to get them into your sales funnel, right? And then we have to determine what happens after you touch these persons. So all right, here's an example of Edmond. He is handing out flyers at the bus stop. He is targeting fathers, maybe persons who have become newborn fathers with ads online. And I chose newborn fathers because, you know, there's an addition to your family, which normally means more expense, which normally means that there's a greater need for additional income, you know, something like that. So I'm choosing that option, that selection for that reason, just to give some perspective, right? But these are different touch points that you are looking to set up. Now, when Edmund goes to the bus stop to hand out his flyers, what's the key thing that needs to happen here for Edmund? Is Edmund going to put a flyer out there with phone numbers to call, a WhatsApp number to text, an address to visit? How is he going to generate the leads? You have to put a flyer out there with a strong call to action. But if he's going to be driving them to a digital resource like a website, then we're going to need to put a QR code on that flyer to say, scan here for more information, you know? And it brings up your website landing page that tells everybody about this offering that you have and this opportunity, and persons can read and learn about it. Similarly, if an ad is being run online, the person is already online, so you don't need a QR code. What you're going to do is put a link, a learn more link on that ad that brings the person again to your landing page, right? And there's also, you know, your landing page is not the only place that you can land customers. You can land customers also on your blog. Sometimes we write articles about the products that we're selling, and then we add links to the products into the blog. Can promote that blog article on social media as an example of as a way to generate just general reader interest. So let me use the example of something I've seen being done every summer here in Jamaica. I see them produce it, the travel agencies, they create a list of 10 places to visit this summer. And they put them in a list and they, put pictures, put descriptive text about this place and why it's ranked in their 10 places. Sorry, to visit this summer. And they put this article out there, post on social media. Now, summer is coming up, you have kids or you have a spouse, or you just wanna you're in school and break is coming, you wanna have some fun this summer. You don't want to just be locked in the house. You're already in that train and thought, hey, I wonder what I can do this summer. And you see this and you're gonna read it. So you go through, you read it, and you're like, and whichever tours or things that are fun that you find fun, you may click on it to learn more about, all right, how can I do this? Where can I get this? How much does it cost? Right? So you're gonna put those clickable elements in the blog and it brings you back to your product page. So there are multiple ways to land customers, but you see, if you're promoting something, you're promoting an offering, you're promoting a business, you're promoting a product, land the customer on the landing page. If it is that you are using content marketing to generate buying interest, and you put in your land customers on your blog page. What's the difference? The difference is that you put a flyer out there telling that, hey, people, I have this thing at this price for sale, come and get it. You don't land people on a blog for that, you land people on exactly what you are selling for that reason, right? So whether it's a product page, you don't have to land on a website page, you could go straight to your product page as well, right? And circumvent a website landing page. Recently, I was working on a project with a client that did not have the resources to build out landing pages. So we landed all customers on their product page, right? So as I say, there are different paths to say that persons can take. You choose, but it's first and foremost starts with understanding where are your leads going to be generated? What are the touch points? Where are you going to get these leads from? And it starts with the different channels that you have offline, right? And again, if you have offline channels and you want to have things that bring them online, so things like a QR code, things like our website URL, for persons who may not understand how to scan a QR code, they can type it in, right? And you land your customer, whether on a blog or on a landing page. But at the end of the day, guys, where we really want to get the customer to is to the product page. Want to get the customer considering the product, adding the product to cart, and checking out. Now there are different paths to completing the sale. Checkout is the final part, right? You could have somebody land on your website, whether it be your landing page or your product page, and once they click, I have buy now button. The buy now button circumvents the cart and adds the person straight to the checkout page, just like on Amazon. You go on Amazon and you click add to cart, it goes to the cart. You click buy now, brings us straight to your checkout page, right? So we have to be very clear on the path to sale that we want the customer to take when we're running our campaigns, because this impacts the type of information we put on the marketing collateral. Again, whether it's a flyer, you're going to have to put a URL or a QR code for persons to scan, right? If it's for your blog, generate your blog traffic from online. Don't try to, I would recommend driving offline traffic to your blog. Generate your traffic for your blog online, right? And then you can get them to your landing page or to your product page. Whichever one optimizes your experience the best, right? Again, when promoting products, land them straight to what you're selling. So whether it's a landing page that has all the descriptive elements about your product or straight to your product page, right? Again, there are things that you can turn on to optimize the circumvent the cart and go straight to checkout. But remember what I mentioned earlier, it depends on how your customers buy from you. Customers buy one item at a time, then you want to optimize it. If they buy multiple items at a time, then you want to give them the room to go through the shopping process of adding multiple products to cart, right? Any questions on this element? Does anybody see their customer journey any different from how it is displayed here? Edmond, Jamie, Caribbean trainers. Does anybody see their path to sale any different from how it is laid out here?
Yeah, so For the government, the journey is a lot different. Oftentimes it includes bidding. And even if we are the ones that design a project and put it before the government, oftentimes they have to put out a call and for anyone to come. The difference with our product is that we're the only ones legally able to launch this particular program. So if they use the language CEFE, entrepreneurship training, it has to be us. If they use entrepreneurship training, it's anyone, any competent firm. So that's when the bidding becomes, and it's highly competitive. What we have in our favor is the transferability, replicability, and the fact that it's so well developed and tested here. So yeah, but that being said, for the government, that's a bid. For the private sector, the journey has to include some level of engagement. For some reason, they want to see you. Yeah, they want to see you in their office talking to them. Yeah.
I'm glad for that input. I'm glad for that input because it does highlight the fact that there are different paths to sale depending on the type of product, depending on the type of customer who you're dealing with. B2B is very different from B2C. So this model fits B2C very well, right? Business to customer. And even so, if let's say, for instance, you are in the medical space, that may require a consultation before making payment, then this process would have to be tweaked again to support that. So there are many different paths to sale. What I want to drive home is that we all need to be aware of our path to sale so we can drive the customer through the customer journey. This is what you call a customer journey map. This is a very simple one for retail business. You will have to map out what yours look like. And it's really just about, where do you start? Where do you go next until the process has ended? All right. Edmund, how does this process look compared to, what you would expect your customer journey map to look like?
For mine, truthfully, I was almost in the process of remaking my own because it's gonna be a tad bit different. We will offer orders from the website at some point, but not right now. So we need to route you to an app store or a Play Store, right? That also comes from our website, so it would lead from this point. Then you have to create your account, so that would be a part of it at the location. That would be a part of it. Product page, cart, then checkout. Yeah, and then we need another route for when the website is also a tool to make the orders. So then we'd have the website as the page, then we have same account creation, location adding, and yeah.
Okay. At least I know you're clear on what needs to happen, Jamie, how does it look on your end? How is yours any different from this, or is it the exact same?
The initial, yes, but it's not the end for us, because since we are a service, it's a consult. We have two, of course. So if the patient is just doing a one-off consultation, then there's an interaction between the patient and the doctor after the checkout point. For the subscription plans, if the patient does, say, the subscription plan for a family, the family plan, they initially do the checkout where they pay for the family, but then we need to contact them for them to fill out the forms for each additional family member that they want to put on the plan.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask us all to do is just map out our customer journey. Do it on one page. It doesn't have to look exactly like how this flows, where you have this here. It can literally be a snake going around, it can be any form you want, but just try to keep it on one page so you can see clearly for your purpose and even for internal purposes on how to manage that process. Because keep in mind as well that sometimes you will need additional communication resources to support persons moving from one stage of the process to the next. Sometimes it's a pop-up, sometimes it's a phone call, sometimes it's an email, sometimes it's a site visit, you know. But you have to consider these things. All right, guys, so that's pretty much what we're gonna cover for this week. We're 70 minutes over the time. Next week, we'll get more into you know, how you activate your campaign based on the lead generation channels that you have selected. You know, you talk about the campaign requirements. How do you set a campaign budget? And how do you actually drive the conversion? So this looks at the entire customer journey path to sale and how we activate against. So how we activate against lead generation, how we activate against conversion, and so forth. So we're gonna look at this next week for this track. This normally is where things come together for the campaign from a high level perspective. All right. Any questions before we jump? Anything from Gilbert or from Carib Export, Philip or Ramona?
Yeah, I'd like to say that, you know, hopefully into the program, one of the things that we were concerned about, that I'm concerned about, was, you know, the measurable outcomes of this program. Like for me, I wanted to see businesses actually doing sales, but just listening to the transition, the transformation from beginning, from where we started with a lot of these businesses to where they are now, I'm really happy. We'll not be able to measure it, and you guys will not be able to get a lot of the support that you actually need, but I can see you implementing a lot of what you've learned over the period of time that we're here, and I'm really excited by that.
Yeah, I'm seeing a formula being developed, and I think you know, that's one of the most important outcomes that we can have from it. Persons just moving from a point of total you know, being oblivious about what it takes to now being far more confident in, you know, making the moves that I need to make and also making the decisions that I want to make. So that definitely is encouraging, Gilbert, as well. All right, so thanks to that, Gilbert. Carib Export, is there anything from you guys before we wrap?
No, nothing from our side.
Okay, all right, great. All right, guys, thanks again for making it another great week. We look forward to connecting with you next week. Have a good week and weekend. All right, take care.
All right, take care. Bye.
Thank you.